Can you believe I still haven't had time to find myself a barber's appointment? Yeah, I know you doubt me. You'd think, oh, there's no way. A live streamer couldn't find free time, but I really haven't. There's been no time that I have been available that during which a barber's open, unless there are some super late night barber shops that exist that I'm not aware of. Unless, of course, I got out of bed before like 10 a.m., but that's not, we need to be realistic with our expectations. White boy can't get a haircut? Yeah, I know. Racial discrimination. Are black barber shops open late? Vosh, your camera is on? No, it's on. I'm on full camera right now. Your screen is just frozen. What's up? Have you considered using your ball trimmer? Who the fuck trims their balls? Vosh, the video keeps skipping in the Palestine action segment of yesterday's VOD. It seems that about 5 minutes of video was removed sometime after the stream based on the timestamp in the comments. Do you know what happened there? Wow. That's heavy-handed. Yeah, no kidding. It looks like The Guardian removed a section of it specifically with the Palestine action. Now, I've seen stuff produced by The Guardian before, so I'm guessing they're just blocking Palestine-related stuff. Initially, it was the whole video, but then it got limited just to the relevant section of the VOD. It's illegal to talk about Palestine. Funnily, that's what the segment was about. Is that legal? Yes. Can you do anything about it? No. The Stephen Miller gaffe also appears to be censored everywhere. Well, based on what? What are you saying that? Why are you saying that? Wait, deadass, or was it just a glitch? Why is this surprising to you people? Discord? Discord. Removed it, the VOD got blocked? Yeah. I figured, because of the Guardian thing. So the editors removed it, so that the whole VOD didn't get blocked. There you go. I don't know when y'all are joking. We never joke here. Seattle mayoral debate. Damn, Harold looks like shit.
From Cornish College of the Arts at Seattle University, good evening and thank you for being here. We tossed a coin backstage to determine who would make the first opening statement.
And those life experiences have allowed me to say to you that I believe we've laid the path for Seattle to...
Well, I don't get why you're at a mayoral debate. Why are you just wearing like a lumpy polo shirt? You know?
Be one of the most livable cities in this country. Now, we will invest over $1 billion in affordable housing. I know how hard it is to live in Seattle. This was my parents' story.
The comments on this are full of Hitlerites. It's a local debate. How bad? Bruce Harrell. When a man does 6 or 7 crimes we don't know his life story, maybe he was hungry, therefore I have zero desire jailing him. Wait, the people here are mad at Harrell? Wait, did Bruce Harrell overcommit? Did Bruce Harrell, like, recognizing that he was losing so far the race to a more progressive candidate, he was like, as for my policing policy, I think that all blacks should get 1 murder per fiscal year, because of racism. You know, like, did he? That's crazy. Wait, where's the time? I want the timestamp on that. Dude, they're all really mad. That's crazy. Look, only a Democrat can win the Seattle mayoral race. If he said something that's stupid and ends up like... because a significant portion of his voter base are like begrudging Republicans who could prefer him to the lesser evil. So if they end up hating him more than the more progressive candidate, oh my God. I need that, hold on, 6 or 7 crimes, 0 desire. If I'm gonna search for desire. Transcript. I don't think this works anymore. Like, you can't search through an entire transcript. Oh, no, here we go. Oh.
In jail. Clear. I was the one that sponsored the ban the box legislation when everyone opposed it because the criminal system has had a disparate impact on black and brown communities. Let me lead with that. So when this person...
Okay, for context, this is the Seattle mayoral race. This guy is an asshole. This guy is a bigot. He's deep in bed with local policing. He is not a progressive. He is a corporate Democrat who is good, or has been good, not so much now, at aligning with or pretending to be progressive, but really aligning with like local tech. Because I don't know if you guys know, Seattle's known as like the gay haha city, whatever. Seattle has a ton of money in it, right? All the tech up here, and also very, very, very aggressive police. The Seattle Police Department are no joke. They are not chill. So yeah, he's not exactly the guy we're rooting for in this race. Katie Wilson's great. I met her. I went to her primary watch party. We talked to her on stream.
Committing 6 or 7 crimes. I don't know his or her story. Maybe they were abused as a child. Maybe they're hungry. So my remedy is to find their life story to see how we could help first. I have no desire to put them in jail, but I need to protect you, and that's the calibration.
Damn, that's a crazy gaffe. Like, progressives wouldn't say, like, that's a huge overstep. I have no desire to jail somebody who's committed 6 or 7 crimes because I don't know their life story. I understand what he's saying. I understand the point he's trying to make. He's lying either way, because again, this guy's like deep in bed with cops. I understand the point that he's trying to make here, but like, what a terrible way of putting it.
I put police officers on the stand. I've cross-examined them. So whether they commit 7 or 8 crimes to me is not the issue. The issue is, why are they committing these crimes?
Here, I want to go back to the beginning of the question. Hold on.
Wanted to move on to public safety, Emily.
Yeah, thank you.
Isn't it crazy that this is the mayoral debate for the general election, and it's of Seattle, a massive city, and this is what it looks like? We need to abolish local government, or like make all of it run by AI or something. I don't know. Nobody pays attention to local politics at all. That needs to change. There needs to be like a cultural change or something. I was re-looking at that graph the other day, how the number of federal workers in America has stayed consistent for like 50 years. The number of state and especially municipal workers has skyrocketed over that time. And the reason for that is because local government is bloated, inefficient, and nobody has any idea what's going on in it. Ironically, like, people pay more attention to and know more about national candidates who live on the other side of the country than they do local candidates who live potentially within their own neighborhood. It's a real problem, you know? It's not very democratic. Functionally, it's not democratic. If you're getting like 10% turnout for a local municipal election, that's not democratic.
Wanted to move on to public safety, Emily.
Yeah, thank you. FBI statistics have showed that in 2024, Seattle had the 4th highest overall crime rate compared to other large cities. The crime numbers this year overall seem to be on a better path than last year. But, Mr. Harrell, it's no secret that repeat offenders are driving much of this crime. Is the city too lax?
It's the same problem as before, man. It's literally, it's like Jonathan H. Crime. Is like every major city has like John Crimes who... It's the local prison is like Arkham to him. He just it's a revolving door, you know. Arson, get let out. Burglary, get let out. Assault, get let out. Yeah, they're the whales. They're like the people keeping Genshin afloat, you know.
On repeat offenders?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, they ruin petty crime for the rest of us. Everyone should get to do a little bit of petty vandalism now and again. But Johnny Crimes over here, he takes up all the vandalism juice himself. After the cops are done dealing with him, they don't want to deal with no vandals no more. So the rest of us, we actually get to serve hard time. Johnny Crime, he just gets to walk out again because his mom was hungry or something. I don't know.
I don't know how to answer that question. Too lax. I don't know how you gauge that. I know it's necessary to catch criminals in the act of doing bad things. And I have all the faith in my police department, who is the best practice in terms of using force. I need 1,500 officers. I need constitutional arrests. I need...
How does this even happen? I would have thought the U.S. perma-jails these folks. Okay, I'm going to be real with you. I don't know. I have no idea. It's like this was the last good point that Anna Kasparian made before she went fully crazy, which was, for some reason, in major Democrat cities, which have, by the way, high prison populations. It's not like they don't arrest people. It's not like they don't incarcerate people. California, 3 strikes law, whatever. But for some reason, and I don't know why, the system allows a small number of people to just keep doing crimes over and over. I don't get it. Is it just me, or does Harold look like Vosh? Props for the race blindness. Anyway, Jesus, that was distracting. Yeah, I really don't know. But yeah, it happens. It happened recently. And what was the city that had the train stabbing that all the white nationalists pretend they care about? The black guy stabbed the Ukrainian lady in the neck. What was the city? DC? No, that wasn't DC. It wasn't New York. Charlotte. It was Charlotte, yeah. But yeah, I remember there was like a big serial stabbing in Seattle that happened last year. And it was, if I remember correctly, pardon me if I'm mixing people up, but it was a black guy who had like 5 trillion priors or whatever. Man, I don't know. Sometimes the most conspiracy-brained I get is when I think, do the police let like 3 crazy black people do whatever they want in every city to keep racism levels up? Is this like part of is this like the long plan? Like the cops and the DA are like, we'll never solve racial inequality now, and they just find like the 3 like most prolific criminals who are black in every city. You're asking too many questions. Fuck, they're coming for me. I figured it out. Part of the problem is that we have no good alternatives to prison. Yeah, but these guys need the prison, is the thing. These guys need the prison. Nobody wants them out. I don't know why they keep getting out.
People that are killing themselves with drugs to get help, get treatment. So I'm not going to give an opinion on the attitude of my officers. I look at them in the eye and I tell them, this is my vision. George Floyd was murdered, purely and simply. And I need you to recruit culturally competent...
Oh, he is really trying to compete with the progressive candidate who's leading in the polls.
...officers. And we created the care department, which is an...
Bosch rare right-wing stance. This is like an actual reality-based stance, which is just, it's a fact of the world that is true. It's not just like crazy right-wing propaganda. The right-wing propaganda is the reasons why they say it's happening. Like the right-wing propaganda is when they're like, this is happening because the police and DAs are anti-white and woke, which is like, no, obviously that's not true. It's obviously fake. However, Crimes George is in fact a real guy, you know? Johnny Crimes, Johnny Double Crime. This is in fact a real like archetype of person, and we have to, you know, work with that. I don't know if they do it to keep police budgets high, because if there's still a lot of crime, it justifies the presence of police, though it kind of delegitimizes them at the same point in time. I don't know if it's like a racism thing. I have no idea. I don't know why they do it. I have no idea. I can't reconcile a system where there are people who are put away for multiple years for like petty theft, like stealing a Twix bar from a gas station, and then there are people with multiple felony assaults on their record. By multiple, I don't mean 2 or 3. And they just walk. I don't get it. I don't know why, but I think that should stop, you know? If our prisons are overcrowded, make room for one more, okay? I don't care if you have to overfill a cell. These people probably deserve to be in prison a lot more than a lot of the people who are already in prison.
Our response, the largest city in the country to do this. So whether they're lax or not, for me, in all due respect, is just not the question. The question is, are they effective? And they are very effective. I just need to get my numbers up because the defund movement demoralized...
Do you people actually get put in prison for stealing a candy bar? Dog, people have been put in prison for like decades for stealing a candy bar, yeah. Depending on like the priors and the system there, like California 3 strikes law or whatever, I'm pretty sure you can find people in the country who have been put in prison for life over stealing a candy bar.
police department. I was down 300 when you started, but the good news is we're getting 10 applications a day. So to me, the question is, are they effective? And they're very effective when given the resources.
Mayor Harrell, I want to go back to that repeat offender question. If somebody has offended 6, 7, 8 times, even if it's a minor offense, but they continue to fail to turn their life around, at what point do you balance public safety to giving this person, some accountability? What is that balance?
So let me make something very clear. I was the one that sponsored the ban the box legislation when everyone opposed it, because the criminal system has had a disparate impact on black and brown communities. Let me lead with that. So when this person is committing 6 or 7 crimes, I don't know his or her story. Maybe they were abused as a child. Maybe they're hungry. So my remedy is to find their life story to see how we could help first. I have no desire to put them in jail.
He's woke maxing, it's true.
But I need to protect you, and that's the calibration that we have. I put police officers on the stand. I've cross-examined them. So whether they commit 7 or 8 crimes to me is not the issue. The issue is, why are they committing these crimes? And so we have a health-based strategy. We authorized our fire department, for example, to be the first fire department in the country to administer buprenorphine. I want these people treated. So for me, it's not 7 or 8. It's how do I stop, how do I go upstream to find out what's in their life? But at the end of the day, I also have to protect you, and that's the calibration that we've done. And we are best practice in this country in doing it.
Ms. Wilson, I would like to have you answer that question.
Yeah, thank you. I'd love to answer this question. So one specific
strategy. Let's do woke correctness, Katie.
That I think we need to do much more of to be effective on this problem of repeat offenders is effective diversion programs. So we have here in Seattle law enforcement assisted diversion, which is a nationally recognized program where if someone is arrested, they have the opportunity, instead of going through that booking and jail process, to be diverted into a path with case management, if they're homeless, shelter, housing, with services to help them be successful there. Unfortunately, our current mayor in previous budgets in his term has severely cut funding for the LEAD program, but this is exactly the kind of program that we need in order to address the problem of repeat offenders, especially for low-level crimes, without just giving people long jail sentences, which frankly doesn't work either.
Follow up to that. You talk about possibly alternative sentencing as a progressive candidate. One of the things under Mayor Harrell's administration, specifically Ann Davison, the city attorney's office, she got rid of community court, which is something that...
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to substantiate what I was saying earlier, because this is what I had in mind. It took a while to find, because Seattle's a big enough city that if you look up mass stabbing Seattle, you don't just get one result. This is the guy that I'm thinking of. I remember there was the news alert, oh, somebody stabbing a bunch of people in the International District, injured 5 people, 4 counts of assault in the 1st degree, 1 count of assault in the 4th degree, extensive criminal history, and prosecutors argued in court filings to keep his bail at $2 million. I don't know why he has a bail at all. Stabbed multiple people, da-da-da. Lee catches a break in violent felony case this year. Lee has an extensive criminal history in Washington state, including convictions for assault, attempted robbery, theft, and other crimes. In 2023, that's 1 year before this happened, prosecutors charged Lee with robbery in the 1st degree for allegedly using a knife to steal a man's car in Federal Way. Earlier this year, the charge was reduced to theft in the 3rd degree in exchange for Lee pleading guilty. Did he say sorry? I don't know if he said sorry. It's just crazy, man. I don't know. It's insane. It's, again, it's just a reality-based thing. You just have to acknowledge that this is a thing. I don't understand why prosecutors would be playing down the sentences for people who are actually dangerous. If anything, you'd think they'd be doing that for people who are, committing minor, non-violent crimes. I have no idea. Maybe the same thing will happen to that guy in Charlotte. Anyway, finish the answer.
Is an alternative to jail time. But one of the reasons why she got rid of it was because there was a backlog, as well as the fact that data showed that it was not helping with repeat offenders. It just was not effective.
Maybe the insanity defense should be nerfed. Nobody's actually using the insanity defense.
If you were the mayor, would you bring that program back, or would you keep it the way it is now?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I am actually not sure about whether the answer is yes or no. So I know that City Attorney candidate Erica Evans is thinking about this as well, and so if elected, I will be working closely with our next City Attorney to decide whether bringing community court back is the right course and perhaps fixing some of those problems surrounding it, or whether it's better to continue on the course that we're on now.
So, Ms. Wilson, also, you have spoken again about...
Pretty moderate answers from Wilson. Not in terms of policy, but in terms of, like, rhetoric, which makes sense. You know, she's been more of a policy wonk the entire time she's been running. She's not like a fire and brimstone preacher kind of progressive. She's more of a, like, if we lay down a bunch more bus routes, we can improve the numbers on people's happiness levels, you know?
Alternatives to policing in the past to help with public safety. Under Mayor Harrell, there's already a program that somewhat does that. The CARE team includes social workers that go out with first responders to more than, so far, 3,000 calls since late 2023. Many of those calls involve the homeless population. So if you were the mayor, would you support the current goal to double the CARE team?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we need to double it, and we need to go further than that, right? There are a few other cities around the country that have gone much further than Seattle in expanding alternative response, and that's partly about the number of people on that team. It's also about the range of calls that they're able to respond to, right? We still have only...
what the fuck is this? I'm just curious, should we recall all of our DAs? Blue City erupts as 91-time felon tries to dodge prison, weasel into rehab after crash. Police say Troy McAllister, 45, was intoxicated when he ran a red light in a stolen car, killing Elizabeth Platt, 60, and Hanako Abe, 27. What the hell? What city? San Francisco, of course. "91 felonies. Incredible. Level 100 crook." Yeah, take notes, everyone. That's how mafia works. It's a bizarre country in terms of criminal justice, man. It's a bizarre fucking country. I want to know more about his priors. Prosecutors are fighting their version motion. Wait. California Penal Code 1001.36, which was enacted in 2018, allows certain criminals with a diagnosed mental health or substance use disorder to enter court-supervised treatment instead of facing trial. Shouldn't that only apply to, like, drug crimes? Like, if this means that a meth addict goes to treatment rather than jail, that's good. But if the meth addict tried to rob someone with a gun, I think they should still go to jail. What the hell? This undated photo shows Troy McAllister. Okay, Jesus fuck. I don't know why they're showing, like, unrelated people. I was like, oh my god, was that like an old photo and this is a new photo? Jesus fucking Christ, the years have been hard. Being a level 100 crook. I mean, man, life in the fast lane, a candle burning from both ends. No, it's separate people. Jesus. This guy's younger than the first guy, though? What? 41-year-old Courtney Boose. 50-year-old Troy McAllister? Never mind, being a level 100 crook actually, like, it fucking rules. Pays back massively. You live forever. You kidding me? This guy's 50? I can't... The plot of Get Out, man. Does wonders for your skin. 41. It's the meth? Yeah, it's probably the meth. Courtney Booth, 41, is accused of stabbing a 69-year-old man at Lawrence gas station, and it's far from his first run with police. According to Fox 59, records show he's been arrested 99 times over the years for charges ranging from theft to battery, yet he's never served prison time. You know that fucking meme? Like no, the average black person does not commit 3 violent crimes a year. You know, Crimes George, who commits 473,000 crimes a year, was an outlier and should not have been counted. I unironically think they're doing this to the black population. I'm not joking, okay? There's no fucking way the cops and the DAs in all these blue cities are being so anti-racist that they're maintaining their high prison populations but letting a few people fly nonstop, you know? I think they're doing this to pump the averages. This shit is crazy. Yeah, they're stat padding. I don't know. Anyway, here, hold on. I want to see the outro to this, to the debate, the closing statements, and then we'll move on.
Treatment that we're doing, the health investments we're making, this is real. I will tell you with Trump, that didn't come up. Trump will walk over inexperience. Walk over inexperience. This is personal for me. It was an executive order that put my mother in a concentration camp. I'm well versed in the 10th Amendment and federal overreach. In troubled and threatening times, experience matters. And I humbly ask for you to give me a second term.
Respectable lads,
because
though.
we have
Oh yeah,
the
he's a
ship
big
right
lad.
where we want. We have the tenacity, the toughness to fight Trump. And you see me doing it every single day with a great team.
That's time.
Okay. I'm just going to say one thing about Trump, which is that I was very concerned by the CCTV surveillance legislation that the mayor proposed and the council passed that was opposed by immigrants' rights groups and civil liberties groups, specifically because of the risk that it poses of the federal government having access to that personal information and data. Okay, closing statement. It's great to be here. Thank you all for being here.
She's
this
such
is
a
democracy
wonk.
in action. I have not gone through my career aspiring to hold elected office. I am an outsider, but I am an outsider who has an insider's knowledge of City Hall. I have been at the table when legislation is hashed out, when programs are designed, and when policies are implemented. At its core, the job of mayor is about leadership, and that means assembling a team a team of people who have
Do we fuck with the incumbent? No, we fuck with Katie Wilson.
highest competence and integrity, keeping them oriented around a common vision and motivated. And that is exactly what I have spent my career doing. I am proud in this race to have the endorsement of Protect 17, the largest union of city workers who are asking for a new boss. And I'm proud to have the endorsement of MLK Labor, our King County Labor Council, of the King County Democrats, and the sole endorsement of every single Democrat Party organization in the city. And most important, the endorsement of the 51% of primary voters who voted for me in an 8-way primary this August. Politics, I believe, is about relationships. It's about collaboration. And I also believe that we don't need to agree on everything in order to work together. I would be honored to have your support. Thank you.
Okay, we've come to the end of our evening. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And please make sure you vote, that's for sure.
Really, really, really hope she wins. Does this mean Vosh should get trained? Seattle already has a pretty decent public transit network. I mean, we're not, you know, it's not New York or whatever. But it's pretty good. Time is kind of tight, but she was good. I think she did good. She did good. I'm sorry, but that was not gripping TV. Not sure who watched this besides us. Whoa, really? A local fucking municipal office a general election debate isn't primetime TV material? That's crazy. What a novel observation. You know, this is part of the problem. Municipal elections are super, super undemocratic because nobody pays attention to them. And nobody pays attention to them because everyone's too, like, locked in on the federal stuff, you know? For later in stream, Hassan got to debate an NYC reporter in a one-on-one interview. Reporter's name is Ross Tuthet. Okay. How is that for later in stream? By NYC reporter, do you mean NYT reporter? Like you're not just referring to a reporter from the city of New York, right? You mean New York Times reporter. Was that your program scheduler? Yeah, Jesus. I guess I have another paycheck to send out. I didn't realize. Was there something noteworthy about it? I don't think so, girl with the guitar. Request so bad it got Vosh curious. Well, other people seem to know about it. New York Times, my bad. Yeah, I know you were wrong. Don't worry. You don't need to affirm my belief in that. What's significant about this interview? On Pangburn, Destiny said fuck Vosh, fuck Hassan, but Vosh assigned weird. Okay. I haven't been banning enough people lately. If you're talking about some shit, you need to explain what the fuck you're talking about. The standards for information relaying in this chat have been sinking lately, okay? Hassan talked to NYC reporter. You cover? Question mark, parentheses? On Pangburn. What the fuck is Pangburn? What are you people talking about? What is the point of this? Just tell me. Just if you want me to cover something, you have to present the information in a good enough packet that I can understand. Like, if you want me to, I assume it's an incentive, right? Like, you want me to talk about it. If you want me to talk about it, you have to actually, like, provide me. Yeah, dude, it's on Fujo. Dude, it's on Fleeb. It's on Quib. It's literally on Clit right now. It's on Clit. Bro, it's on Clit. Can you provide me the fucking information? No, apparently not. All right, we'll ignore all of it then, since you're so insistent on not giving me the necessary context to cover it. All right. They made being gay illegal again, or something, type shit. It looks like the Supreme Court is going to be ruling against conversion therapy bans. So yeah, if you're a queer kid in a red state, good luck. I don't know. Well, actually, not even just a red state. I mean, blue states can have. Well, yeah, no, it's not even red state because they're going to ban the ability to ban it in blue states. So yeah, no, if you're queer and a kid, good luck. I guess I don't know. Have to wait till you're 18 to be gay or trans or whatever. Yeah, legal everywhere. Yeah, it undoes blue state bans. That's pretty crazy. The Supreme Court, huh? Worst court in the nation. States' rights, by the way. We don't believe in those. Now that Republicans control the federal government, we don't give a shit about states' rights. Did you see the latest OECD report? Just link the fucking report. A majority of the Supreme Court signaled Tuesday it is prepared to rule against Colorado's ban on conversion therapy for minors, with several justices indicating they sympathize with a licensed counselor who says the law violates her First Amendment rights. In one of the most significant cases the High Court will address this year, the justices were asked to decide if states may ban the discredited practice, which purports to, quote, convert gay people to heterosexuality or transgender people to cisgender. The outcome could have sweeping implications. Advocacy groups say roughly half of the United States have banned the therapy for minors. During a surprisingly low-key and short 90-minute session, yeah, obviously, because 6 of them already have, or maybe 5 of them. You know, something tells me Amy Coney Barrett might be on the other side of this. I'm not sure. Either Barrett or Roberts. I'm calling a 5-4, okay? We'll see. Can we have some straight conversion therapy at least? That would actually be like the ultimate dark woke response for private camps to start setting up, like to convert your straight children to gay, and then when that inevitably gets brought to court, you fight it there. That would be pretty fucking dark woke. That'd be very funny. It is worth noting, by the way, that like what I just described, as crazy as it sounds, is literally just what they're fighting to do right now. I don't place any inherent moral weight on being straight, gay, cis, or trans. So from the perspective of like from the evidence-based perspective of neutral consideration, it is equally as insane as what they're advocating for right now. Straight conversion therapy is when you're locked in a room and forced to watch every episode of RuPaul. Actually, I never feel more straight than when watching RuPaul, so it works in the opposite direction unless you're already gay, I think. Maybe you need like a particular kind of homosexuality. Kaylee Chiles, a licensed counselor in Colorado, has challenged the law on those grounds. Her faith-informed counseling would be speech only, and she says her clients would voluntarily seek her services. She rejects the term conversion therapy and instead describes the work she hopes to do as helping clients who, quote, have a goal to become comfortable and at peace, end quote, with their bodies. Yeah. I hate these people, holy fuck. Yeah, they're basically like pedo camps too. Can you imagine the kind of adult who would choose to work at a gay conversion therapy camp? There's no way they're not a pedophile, right? Like there's that's the literally like you're signing up to be in a position of sort of maximal pedophilia enactment. Alito questions health consensus, of course, obviously. Dum-de-dum. Alliance Defending Freedom, a religious law group, has argued those studies... Oh, sorry. I'll start from the beginning of the section. Colorado and other states have pointed to research showing the practice doesn't work and can be harmful. Some of that research shows it increases a person's risk of suicide and can cause other long-term health problems like depression, anxiety, and high blood pressure. Children who undergo conversion therapy are more than twice as likely to run away. But Alliance Defending Freedom, a religious law group, has argued those studies conflate aversive forms of therapy with the kind of talk therapy their client Chiles wants to engage with. So I guess their argument here is like, oh, no. You're talking about the abusive kind of conversion therapy. We only want to do like a mystical, non-abusive kind. And trust us, we'll definitely never do the abusive thing. It's all talk therapy. You know, just talk. Just nice, voluntary, non-coercive talk where the child has been sent here and can't leave. You know. And also trust us. Trust us. Colorado can't prove harm because it hasn't cited a study focusing on what's at issue here. Voluntary speech between a licensed professional and a minor. It's not voluntary. The minor didn't sign up to be here. The minor is being sent there. Also, it's incredibly hypocritical because, like, your argument against minor trans healthcare argues against this here. How can you possibly argue that voluntary speech between a licensed professional and a minor is always protected and then also ban, like, consultation with a gender clinician for a minor? The fascists are hypocritical. I found a loophole. Kavanaugh silent. Really? Kavanaugh? I really would have expected the one dissenting voice to have been Barrett or Roberts. I guess Kavanaugh has also been, like, occasionally, by the standards of this administration, in the dark woke camp. It's crazy. It's crazy that this is like a controversial position, you know? Fucking highest court in the land suggests that the federal government might not be able to treat you with complete impunity and might face legal repercussions for breaking the law. What? 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 Sometimes I wonder what the benefits Republicans get from being this demonic and evil, because they don't really get any monetary benefit from letting children be tortured, lose the bright in their eyes. Well, it reaffirms religious liberty. But more important than religious liberty, of course, is parental authority. Republicans love parental authority. In fact, quite a bit of the Hitlerite shit in this country is framed in the context of, like, you know, well, this empowers parents to make decisions about their children. Because in a lot of ways, especially to a conservative family, right, the father and the mother over the children, it's like the first hierarchy. It's the first authoritarianism. To a small child, it's literally the first authority they encounter and deal with. And it's an absolute authority in their lives. This is a, again, psychosexual dynamic that Republicans are obsessed with. And I say psychosexual and not just psycho, because the way, like, conservative fathers are obsessed with their daughter's purity they're not beating the allegations, is what I'm saying. Okay, fucking promise rings, mom, or the dad and the daughter, the purity bullshit. There's a lot of shit that Republicans get up to. I mean, Jesus, the House Majority Speaker is in a porn vow with his son, where they both disclose their internet search histories to each other over text, so they can make sure that they're not jerking it to porn. Like, yeah. Somebody said PBS covered this poorly. In what way did PBS cover this?
The U.S. Supreme Court began a new term today, marking the first day of oral arguments. One of the marquee cases of this term will be argued tomorrow. A challenge to a ban on so-called conversion therapy for youth. The practice broadly refers to attempts to change a person's sexual orientation or gender identity. It's banned in 23 states and the District of Columbia. By one estimate, some 350,000 LGBTQ adults received conversion therapy as adolescents.
Cool.
The Supreme Court declined to hear challenges to such.
Speaker Mike Johnson and daughter were profiled attending Purity Ball in 2015 German TV news segment. Oh, well, there you go. There you go. I didn't know that he did that with his daughter. I only knew about the porn disclosure thing with what is a purity ball. It's when you take your daughter on a date to, like, prom, but the point of the prom visit is when the daughter promises you that she won't let anyone else have sex with her until another man claims her in marriage, when you hand your daughter, who is yours, off to the husband. That's not an exaggeration. That's explicitly what it's about. Nice wording. That's literally what it's about. That's why the father hands the daughter off in the marriage ceremony. It's pedo shit, basically? Yes, it's extremely pedophilic. Yeah, listen. The German news segment documented Johnson and his family preparing for and then attending a purity ball, a controversial formal dance event popular among some conservative Christians that gained notoriety in the early 2000s. At a typical event, fathers and their teenage daughters dress in formal ball attire for a night that involves dinner, dancing, and culminates with the daughter signing a pledge to her father to abstain from dating and to remain sexually abstinent until marriage. Yeah, it's all just pedophilia. It's just pedophile shit. It's not making it up. Anyway, why are we looking at the PBS segment?
Such bans in the past, but as Stephanie Sy reports, this case is being heard against a backdrop of intensifying cultural and political debates around LGBTQ rights. And a warning, this story includes discussion.
That's belief. I think the church is.
Oh, that's the bitch. That's the lady.
Against a backdrop of intensifying cultural and political debates around.
And then every step you take.
That's the lady.
Kaylee Childs has been a licensed counselor in Colorado Springs for about 10 years. Her clients are mostly adults, but she sees some families and adolescents too. And sometimes clients seek her help specifically because she's Christian.
That is the worldview on which all of my other activities lie. And so that's just going to be an inevitable part of anybody coming and talking to me.
This is a very Colorado-coded, like, Christian therapist, I have to say. She's really in her element.
Meet them and we have a conversation. What goals, if they already have goals in mind, do they think counseling will help them accomplish?
But right now, Childs says the state of Colorado prevents her from helping some clients reach their goals. In 2019, Colorado passed a law banning treatment for those under 18 that, quote, attempts or purports to change an individual's sexual orientation or gender identity, including efforts to change behaviors or gender expressions or to eliminate or reduce sexual or romantic attraction or feelings toward individuals of the same sex. Licensed providers who violate it face a $5,000 fine and potential loss of their license. This week, the Supreme Court is hearing a challenge to Colorado's ban. The lawsuit, backed by the Trump administration, was brought by Kaylee Childs, who argues the ban infringes on her right to free speech.
The only care that we're talking about is conversations with people who are voluntary and who are coming to my office because they want to see me. The care that is at stake in this lawsuit is that we are allowed to speak freely and that we are allowed to, by the product of that, sort through feelings, sensations, thoughts, beliefs. It's truly that we can have a conversation without the government peering into our private counseling conversation and dictating what we can and cannot talk about.
Supporters of the ban say it's not a question of free speech, but professional conduct, regulating health care by prohibiting a practice that research has shown to be not only ineffective, but also associated with a roughly twofold increase in suicide attempts.
Yeah, so this was in Spain.
Joyce Calvo's daughter, Alana Chen, was a devout Catholic who wanted to become a nun. But when she was just 14, Chen confessed to a priest that she was attracted to other girls.
He went on to tell her that was a mortal sin, which is the worst sin, you know, and it's very scary for a child to think they're going to burn in hell. And he was just telling her all these books to read and that I can help you, and she was afraid, so she wanted that help.
Christians are so unchristian, man. There's literally no reading of the Bible at all that suggests it's the worst sin or a mortal sin. No more so than mixing fabrics in your clothes. Like it's just, I not to do the Reddit atheist thing or whatever. Remember when the other day, I don't remember if it was the new Pope or the old one, the Wope in either case, who said, like, homosexuality is a sin, but it's not really a big deal. That's literally Catholicism. Like, you sin, technically the way you slam your car door shut is a sin. Have you ever, like, been jealous of your neighbor's delicious watermelon as they brought it from the car inside, you know? That was Francis? Yeah. That's sin in Catholicism. Like, it's sin to be to have to be a sodomite or whatever. Okay, well, you know, whatever. We all sin. Say your Hail Marys. Just put the Hail Marys in the confessional.
After her confession to the priest,
mixing fabrics is an example of Jewish law and is treated differently in Christianity. Yeah, well, it's the Old Testament, but you'll never guess where the whole stoning a man who lies with another man comes from. You'll never guess which testament that one comes from as well. Did Jesus talk about homosexuality? No, couldn't have been that important.
Calvo says Chen received almost a decade of conversion therapy and religious counseling hidden from her parents. Chen later described her experiences and emotions in her own words.
I think the church's counsel is what led me to be hospitalized. I was feeling so much shame that I was comforted by the thought of hurting myself.
Chen died by suicide in 2019 when she was just 24.
I didn't want anyone to know why.
So why did somebody say this PBS coverage was bad? Like, it seems to me that this coverage it's not exactly like enabling the viewpoint of the Christian conservatives. What about this is damaging? Probably because they platform the evil lady. I never want to hear the word platform again, okay? Platform. That she's the one bringing the case.
With these experiences.
Julia Sadusky is a clinical psychologist.
Anymore. Can a clinician set that goal and be within the ethical sort of framework that you all have as licensed practitioners?
Therapy is not just about talking. It's about psychological interventions.
It's about spending lots of money
behind them. when my clients come in and they do want to change their attractions, let's say, or they want to align with their sex. It's not that as a therapist I'm arbitrating that and I'm saying you're not allowed to have that goal. What I'm doing is I'm bringing in what we know from research. And what I can tell you from the research is we do not have clear protocols that help people align with their sex. And we don't have clear protocols that have been effective in changing sexual orientation.
Sadusky also argues that the ban doesn't actually prohibit the kinds of conversations Kaylee Childs wants to have with her clients.
To the credit of whoever drafted this law, they wrote into the law that you are allowed to help people with identity exploration and identity development. I don't know how much more clear a law could be about the valuing of identity work, the valuing of exploration, without having a fixed...
So obsessed with wanting to talk about the sexuality of kids creepy. It's super, super fucking creepy, right? Like they couch it, they try to couch it in therapy language, but at the end of the day, what it comes across as they're being like really, really excited about getting a 13-year-old to sit down so they can talk about like, you know, exploring their identity, right? We're not, people talk about gender clinicians as though that's what they do. A gender clinician will talk to a kid about like their feelings and like their medical history and their expectations for the future, stuff like that. You know, it's not just this foo-foo bullshit where they sit you down and they like try to explore the cloisters of your heart by probing all of your inner feelings or whatever, you know? That's more of a therapy thing, not just like clinical work. And even then, therapy has rules, and there are bad therapists and there are good therapists, and it's obvious these people just want to convert people out of being gay.
Outcome.
But some disagree.
It's very explicit that this is a requirement of the law, that you cannot do anything but affirm or ignore.
Wait, do people in chat not realize this person supports the ban law? This person? I don't know. I blanked out because I was reading chat. I was talking about the first lady, who isn't this lady. I think this lady's also... This lady is saying that you can still do the therapy stuff in a way that doesn't like contradict the wording of the law. She's opposed to conversion therapy as described by the state law. This lady is not, as evidenced by the fact that her only qualification here is mother. If you see a person talking in a news segment and the only thing describing them is that they're a mother or a father, you know you're in for some Hitlerite shit.
And that's my experience.
In northern Colorado, Erin Lee says her daughter Chloe began abruptly questioning her gender identity several years ago.
We didn't know how to talk about it, and we didn't want to say anything we couldn't take back, and so we just totally ignored it. We didn't affirm, so we didn't call her the new name. We also didn't say, you're not trans, that's not real.
Lee eventually contacted...
First of all, nice trad wife dress, looks like shit. Second of all, honestly, it just sounds like you're a huge pussy. I don't know. I guess I can't really imagine having a kid and like you've raised the kid, like you've dealt with so much stuff parenting wise. You've had to have so many conversations with them, and then they pitch you like an underhanded throw, like a softball of, oh, I'm having some questions here and there. You can't just talk about it with them. You people freeze up. It's crazy. You're not fit to be parents. It's not even an ideological thing. It's just like, why the fuck are you so weird?
Multiple therapists, but couldn't find the right fit.
We found a Christian counselor. We were not Christian at the time, but we were...
Oh my God. At the time, you converted to Christianity just to legitimize your reactionary political positions? That, you know what? That's a lot more honest than them pretending they were Christian the whole time.
Looking for someone who wasn't going to automatically affirm. She went through like 6 of these sessions and she was getting worse mentally. She was becoming more withdrawn, more dark, and we thought, why isn't she getting better? But I now understand it's because counselors they're afraid. They're afraid to touch this issue. They know they can't do what they're trained to do, which is ask questions and get to the root cause of why this person's feeling that way or help them through it.
These people are such fucking pussies. Just say you want to convert your son or non-binary child. I don't give a fuck, okay? Just say you want to convert them. This, like, well, you want them to explore their feelings. Okay, so what happens if they go to a counselor and they explore their feelings and then this person comes out more confirmed ever in their identity? No matter what happens, this mom would always say that the being not like trans is an aberration. Like any outcome that leads in that direction would have been a bad outcome. Like you're outcome oriented. You're not just looking for a process here. You're looking for an outcome. So just admit you're looking for the outcome.
But in our daughter's case, she didn't want to feel that way.
Chloe, who is now 16 and no longer identifies as a boy, has since spoken out about her experience.
Oh, this is the biggest case of woke whiplash you're going to get when you hit college. Jesus.
I can certainly think of adolescents and people who I've witnessed suffer from this law.
Back in Colorado Springs, Kaylee Childs says she's had to turn away clients because she believes the law forces her to avoid certain conversations.
Good. That's good. That's what the law is meant to do. Yeah. That's the point. Yeah, the law is meant to prevent you from doing the bad thing. So you're like, well, I want to do the bad thing.
The consequence is a $5,000 fine and the loss of your license, which is the loss of your career and your livelihood. That's
Good.
not a
You
risk
should have lost your license. You clearly don't deserve it.
many people are willing to take.
Colorado officials say they haven't taken action against any provider since the law took effect.
That's fucking insane. What the fuck is the point of putting a law like that into action if you're not going to enforce it? We need to be way more judicious in taking people's licenses away, man. There are so many quack doctors and quack therapists out there that just continue decades after they turned insane, continue to make a mockery of the sciences.
But if the High Court overturns the ban, its supporters, like Joyce Calvo and Simon Kent Fung, believe the impacts will be sweeping.
I think the tragic outcome of this is likely that we're going to see more kids feeling alienated from their families and despairing. What we're likely going to see are more stories like Alana's.
Alana eventually realized the conversion therapy wasn't working, and her writings took on a different tone.
I always thought there must be something wrong with me, not wrong with God or his rules. I feel like I've been fooled all this time. I'm so angry, I'm hurt, I still feel broken.
Seems like things are going great.
By then, it was too late. Her faith and her life were lost.
Well,
for the PBS NewsHour, I'm Stephanie Sy in Colorado.
Okay, again, who the fuck linked this and said PBS was handling it badly? No one is going to watch this PBS segment and think that they're in favor of removing the conversion therapy ban. Seems pretty clear to me that, you know, I'm again, PBS is not allowed to be like super explicitly partisan, but I feel like I mean, I'm happy to have watched the video. So does that mean, so did the son kill himself after everything here was, the interviews were conducted? Did the suicide take place? Because they had him on film, right? That was him in the sweatshirt next to the mom in the kitchen. Different family? Okay, sorry. Then I would have gotten that mixed up. Okay, gotcha. You're mixing up family. Okay, I'm mixing up families. Fine, okay. Not the son, the daughter. Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. As a survivor, there are very clearly two sides in this shit. I don't think this video two-sidesed it at all. Not even a little bit. The New York Times probably would, because the New York Times is evil and is a Hitlerite organization, and it always has been. NPR is limited in what they can do. I wouldn't be surprised if they softballed it a little bit, but they probably don't want to come across as too partisan. I would have to read like their full coverage. Yeah. That being said, like I do think it's worth remembering that no matter how hard they try, nothing is turning back the clock. Nothing is turning back the clock on gay and trans people being out there in the limelight, okay? Yeah, we're getting a little bit of cultural backlash, whatever. Theo Von and Joe Rogan are already trying to rinse their hands of Donald Trump, okay? The MAGA movement is temporal, all right? The presence of gay and trans people is eternal. That shit is not changing. They're not going back in the closet. It's just not happening, okay? You know, just a couple of days ago, there was another massive pride march in Budapest. In Hungary, where those pride marches are illegal, there was another one. You can't put the lid on this. It's not possible. It's too tied to the human spirit, you know? A little bit like women's rights. I think in a materialist sense, you could argue that homophobia and transphobia Oh, it wasn't in Budapest. It was in Pécs. Okay, it was in the countryside. Okay, in Hungary then, not in Budapest. Gotcha. Another major city. Gotcha. But you get incognito gays like Fuentes. Oh yeah, incognito. Plus, half the people who watch Fuentes are gay too, and they all know it. Okay, they're all furry chasers, girl dick, etc. Come on, everyone's been to 4chan. You see what the fuck these people are on about, okay? Or Twitter. Now that Twitter is poll, you know, it's not that much of a distinction these days either way. What was the point that I was trying to make? Oh yeah, I think you could fairly argue that this is a material conditions thing, okay? Certain social and technological conditions make it much easier for societies to be reactionary than others, right? In a feudal society where every family is 57 kids, half of them die of you know, malaria or cholera or whatever the fuck before they turn 5. And society is very like hierarchical and rigid and structured, and communication is very limited. I think it's easy to be homophobic. Nowadays, with the internet, nah. I have a feeling that even countries like Saudi Arabia are going to have limited like protections for queer people sometime within our lifetime. Things might destabilize. I mean, you know, climate disasters and so on. Maybe in the future it's not going to be the case, but I think that there's just kind of an inevitability to it. Once everyone has the ability to communicate freely online, everyone has the ability to like share their experiences, and you find out just how connected we all are. It's just really hard to keep the gay shit in the bag, you know? And to that point, I think that this even if the Supreme Court does make conversion therapy mandatory legal in all states, like that is to say states can't ban it, the Supreme Court prevents states from banning conversion therapy, states still might be able to ban like more pernicious forms of it. They just can't ban like broadly therapy that is meant to change one's identity. They would have to ban certain practices within that therapy. And also, it's not going to be popular, okay? So many young people are gay and trans. This shit is like conversion therapy was unpopular back in the 1990s. It was broadly maligned even back then. The world has gotten a lot gayer since then, and it's not going back. This is only going to make them more unpopular. A lot of people will suffer, but most importantly, not me, because I'm 31. There we go. Shit is so different now. Yeah. Even early in my lifetime, the way gay people were treated was so different. Can somebody red pill us non-Christians on what the fuck conversion therapy is? Do you think that red pill just means to be made aware of something? The word you're looking for is inform. Can somebody inform us non-Christians on what conversion therapy is? And it's not just a Christian practice. I mean, in America it usually is, but there are versions of it in other countries with other religions. It just means trying to convert somebody out of being gay or trans. Yes, usually through literal torture. Yeah, for sure. Okay, hold on. Let's get these out here, okay? Japan's ruling party elects Sanae Takaichi as new leader, likely to become first female PM. So, Masaigu said, and this seems like a reasonable conceit to me, Masaigu said that the reason this happened is because they are looking to, they're expected to lose quite badly in the next election, and they want to blame it on a woman. Hardline, ultra-conservative, and China Hawk. The lower legislature is already controlled by the opposition. Takaichi is one of the most conservative members of the male-dominated party, an admirer of former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Fascism really is international, huh? A regular at the Yasukuni Shrine, seen as a symbol of Japan's wartime militarism. So we expect her to lose, or at least the party to lose big? Okay. Vows to strengthen Japan-US alliance. Well, that's nice. She has an interesting taste in literature. Nice photos. Takaichi previously wrote a blog recommending a book titled Hitler's Election Strategy, which stated, voters you cannot persuade should be eliminated. After significant backlash, the book was pulled from shelves 2 months later. Oh, well, that is just Hitler's strategy. Wait, how are you going to be mad at the book for that? That was Hitler's election strategy. That's true. I don't know what I expected. It does what it says on the tin. The problem is she's already outflanked by the right-wing parties in the opposition. She can't even capture far right vote if she pivots to the right. Well, I mean, her being a woman probably doesn't help. But yeah, okay, we'll see how it goes. I doubt she'll go very far. Advocate for strict immigration policies, the rearmament of Japan, opposes gay marriage, and is against a potential female emperor. How could you have a female emperor? What does that even mean? Was anyone even talking about having a female emperor? What is that? Who wants an empress? Is anyone there fighting for an empress? They were going to allow it because there was no male heir until the male heir had a boy kid. Well, now he has now there's a boy, so there you go. Stupid. Major domestic challenges, new leader. Takaichi will need cooperation from key opposition groups to implement her party policies. Nope. Shied away from her conservative and anti-China views during campaigning. Yeah. Okay. Doesn't seem like doesn't matter very much. Okay. Important to note the legislature recognized same-sex couples and partnership laws for the first time. Yeah. It's kind of a weird dynamic over there. I could be wrong, but my understanding is that, like, the attitude that the Japanese have towards queerness is different than in the West, in the sense that a lot of them are kind of fine with it, but not, like, active advocate. Like, there are young Japanese who are aggressive advocates for queer rights or whatever, but it's more like staunch conservatism in the country takes the form of, like, well, why fuss things up, you know, why make a mess, why change anything, and not so much like Christian reactionary hate and direct bigotry and opposition, though there is plenty of bigotry. What a mess. Some lesbianism was allowed in Imperial Japan as long as they, quote, grew out of it. And in fairness, most women do. We saw this. Trump saying he's open to the Insurrection Act. Hold on. Historically, Japan did the same pederasty as the Greeks and the Romans, fun fact. Didn't the Persians do it as well? It was probably just common to a particular time period. They're doing it right now in Afghanistan. Are you fucking serious, Vosh? Oh, the pink dots in chat are mad. Oh, did the edgy streamer hit you with a joke that was objectively funny but cut a little bit too hard to comments that were made disparaging you in your youth? Yeah, well, you know who has it hard? White men, okay? You see how many jokes I have to deal with? Every time a white guy with a beard pops up on stream, people are like, is that Vosh? Couldn't get away with that if I was black. Type shit. All right. We got to catch up on the contemporary. It's called dark humor, liberal. Get over it.
I want to get you some breaking news coming into us here at CNN. New video now showing members of the Texas National Guard on the ground near Chicago. This is at the Elwood U.S. Army Reserve Center. So a law enforcement source is telling us around 200 Texas Guard troops have arrived in that area on orders from President Donald Trump.
200.
CNN's Omar Jimenez is outside of that military facility and joins us now. So Omar, what else are you seeing there? What kind of activity has been happening today?
Well, as of the last few minutes, not much. And the reason for that being is...
Oh, yeah, the Texas National Guard are housed in a base 1+ hour commute outside Chicago. Hope they enjoy the traffic. Yeah, that's pretty fun. Trying to militarily occupy a city when it's 3 hours in and out at the beginning and end of each day. No. I'm sure. They must look very intimidating caught in traffic. They have to use the same highways as everyone else.
We are just outside the Army Reserve Training Center. You might be able to see the sign there. And what we were watching for were troops that were gathering at one point, but then these trucks were pulled in front of us to block our...
Time for Pritzker to announce construction projects for the freeway. That is literally what the Kremlin did when Prigozhin and the Wagner group was marching on Moscow, remember? They literally like shut down a bunch of highways with phony construction projects to try to corral them into a single route. All I'm saying is there's a precedent.
I mean, literally one by one, they were lined up. As we were trying to see on the other side of these, we did, though, before the trucks actually got here, see what appeared to be National Guard troops with the T insignia on their left arms, which matches what we saw from Governor Greg Abbott when he tweeted out pictures showing them being deployed here. Obviously, at this point, Governor Abbott has said they are here. We have observed them here on the ground as well. Now, what's interesting is now it comes down to what exactly is happening at this base. This is really the only vantage point we have at all to see any form of what's going on the base. And we have seen some troops actually walking back and forth here a little bit. We see some walking, but it's just hard to get a close view to see if...
How long until the big funny happens where the Illinois National Guard gets mobilized to stop the Texas Guard? No need. 200 guardsmen is such a weak virtue signal. Like, 200 guardsmen is nothing. What can you occupy? What can you control? A couple of blocks with 200 people? It's Chicago. It's a huge city. Yeah, you don't need the National Guard to stop that. You need like a tiny fraction of the Chicago Police Department, which isn't going to happen anyway, of course, because the PD aren't going to fight National Guardsmen. But yeah, they're primed to occupy a strip mall right there. It's a virtue signal. These are Texans. What I'm really interested in is to see, like, are the Texan National Guardsmen going to be more antagonistic to civilians than the California National Guardsmen were in Los Angeles? I imagine the average Texan National Guardsman is a lot more Hitlerite than the average California National Guardsman, and also they're out of state, so you're in a different environment, slightly different culture.
They, again, have that patch on their arms indicating they are from Texas. Now, one of the things they are likely doing at this point, I mean, it is a training center. We don't exactly know what the scope of their orders here will be. It's actually one of the questions that the federal judge in this case, who's ruling over the lawsuit Illinois and the city of Chicago filed against the Trump administration, wanted to know, too, what exactly will they be doing? Will these be people facing deployments? Will these be just to protect federal employees?
They're just here to chill.
Or federal personnel and property, as some of the initial orders from the White House have laid out. Those are part of the questions that, of course, a lot of people have at this point, but it does seem right now that the Texas National Guard not only is here on the ground in Illinois, outside of here in Chicago, but at this particular base, the beginning stages of what is still to be seen as to what the reality of any deployment actually looks like, Eric.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to have you on the ground there, and fascinating the way they so quickly tried to maneuver those trucks to block the view. Omar, appreciate it. Thank you. Boris?
Let's dig deeper on this with retired U.S. Army Major General William Enyart. He's a former Adjutant General of Illinois, which is the highest ranking military official in the Illinois National Guard.
Okay.
General, thank you so much for being with us. Democratic Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois claims that National Guard members are being used as political pawns for President Trump. Do you share that concern?
Well, I think that's a pretty accurate assessment by Senator Durbin. You know, bringing in Texas National Guard is really a vast overreach for the federal government here. One of the things that we pride ourselves...
Oh, that's general chronology. It's true. It is true. I don't know. There's something about being in the military and being old, like reaching a higher rank of officer, that shapes your face. And it's a good thing. I think it's also America specific, because I've seen some like higher up French and German military officials, and they just didn't have that, you know?
Ourselves on in the Illinois National Guard are our contacts and our network with other public resources. And we worked extensively with Chicago Police Department, Chicago Fire Department, emergency management agencies, and indeed police departments and sheriff's departments throughout the state of Illinois, particularly in our natural disaster response framework. So to bring in someone from 1,000 miles away who doesn't have any of those contacts, doesn't have any of that network developed, is absolutely a hazard to public safety. It's not a benefit to public safety.
I wonder, General, if you have any concerns about the training that...
It's because all the generals eat the same food at the Pentagon. They all go to the same, like, holy hot dog stand in the middle. The one that they had to replace recently, but they kept the owl. Am I remembering that correctly? It's the famed hot dog stand in the Pentagon where informally no one has to salute anyone there. You know that, you all know that, right? Like, normally, if you are a soldier and a general walks by, you have to stand at attention because they're a fucking general. But at the hot dog stand, all men are equal. And like a general and a private can both be getting the hot dog. And they're just like, as long as they're within the hot dog zone, they don't have to. It's genuinely beautiful. It's the closest thing we have day to day to the Christmas truce, you know, during World War I, where all the boys on the front agreed to not fight, and they all like had a snowball fight, you know, the Germans and the French and stuff. It's delightful.
These guardsmen have in the context of the job that they might be now doing in Illinois.
Well, Boris, the National Guard is a wonderful instrument. I like to think of it as a Swiss Army knife. We've got a lot of skills.
Telling the general you got in line first. I'd like to think they'd respect that.
Law enforcement officers. These National Guardsmen will get a couple of hours at most.
And afterwards, they didn't want to fight each other, so they were sent to other fronts. How can you not have some hope for humanity when shit like that can happen? You know what I mean? It's the day after Christmas, and the boys on both the German and French front are like, but we don't wanna. We fucking threw snowball. We beat Hans with a snowball just the other day. I don't want to shoot him. And then they have to get switcherooed to all the other fucking trenches in the country so they can go back to fighting.
Civil disturbance training. They may get some.
They were Nazis. No. World War I. Not World War II.
Engagement training. But they don't have the months and years of training and the ongoing continuing education that police officers here in Illinois are required to have. So they are putting an untrained force into what may become a hazardous situation. And it's a situation. I spoke last night with a very senior official in the Illinois State Police who assured me that the Illinois State Police have things under control in conjunction with the local police and the Cook County Sheriff's Department.
So happy to hear that.
To that point, the administration argues that ICE officials and federal agents are not able...
It's not 200 Texan National Guard, it's 2,000. Right now, only 200 have been deployed. The up to 2,000 designation might apply in the future, but right now, 200, that's all that's been deployed. Also, wait, hold on a second. Pay attention to the shit you linked me. This might refer to the Texas National Guard. This is dated June 7th. It's clearly not... the 2,000 isn't applying to like a specific number of people being sent right now. It's talking about like a possible cap, you know? Mobilization of up to 400 members of the Texas National Guard in this specific time period. Up to 400, man, that's so low. Even 2,000 isn't a particularly large... No, there's a reference to October 4th in the later paragraph. No. The 2,000 is referring to the acknowledgement of the president's rights to deployment, right? Which is why they're citing section 12406 of Title 10, etc. here to protect ICE. But it's not in reference to the specific deployment to Portland. The deployment to Portland here... oh, wait, sorry, not Portland, Chicago. Wait, is this for Chicago or is this for Portland? U.S. Code... Portland and Chicago. Is it 400 for the two? Authorize me to coordinate with you on the mobilization of the 400 members of the Texas National Guard. The orders will be effective immediately for initial period in the cities of Portland, Chicago. Only 400, and they split it between two cities. So the reason we see 200 to Chicago now is probably because the 200 that were meant to be sent to Portland have been stopped by, at least for now, it's been stopped by the courts. Probably not for long. It's just not a very large number of people.
To manage their mission, given demonstrations and the public response to the immigration crackdown, it doesn't seem like you actually believe that that is the case, this merits sending the National Guard, that there is, in the administration's eyes, an open rebellion.
Well, it's ridiculous. In fact, the latest video coming from the ICE facility shows there are exactly 2 demonstrators there. So if all of these ICE folks are terrified of 2 demonstrators, then perhaps we need different ICE agents. And in fact, when I was speaking to the Illinois State Police official last night, that official indicated to me that in that official's opinion, these folks are, quote, I'm directly quoting, cowboys, end quote.
Meanwhile, if you look up Chicago right now on YouTube, the top result is New York Post, Chicago, chaotic Chicago protest turned violent. This is where ICE caused the violence. And then a Cash Jordan, again, AI thumbnail. Chicago mayor joins anti-ICE riot. Hardened Marines respond with full force. Marines are not in Chicago. They're not there. What's up, geeks and gamers? I'm here,
Chicago area
rioters with your boy Cash Jordan, here to lie about another bit of civil unrest.
Throwing the kitchen sink at their local.
Oh my god, he actually does the YouTuber cadence. That's crazy. This shit is like Cocomelon to retards.
Local ICE headquarters. But sadly for these Antifa militants in the island, something many a budding mayor or lieutenant governor seem to think is a...
Oh my god, his cadence, that's insufferable. Did he used to talk like this?
Perfectly reasonable, justified idea. And when politicians show up and join these riots, it just makes the whole situation worse. It makes these violent insurrectionists think they've got state sponsorship and state backing and sanctuary city, whether it's Chicago, whether it's this Broadview place, or whether it's even New York City.
Chief Gregory Bovino speaking to protest.
The facility is used in a manner that is erratic and puts them at risk. These federal agents have to do something so that they can lawfully continue doing their jobs, which is it's like a storage unit. I mean, anyone that's being exposed to anything at this place, they don't live here. They came here on purpose to engage with it.
But with little relief, the village is now pleading for state help.
Within the last 3 weeks, things have really increased. So now we are reaching out more requests for resources. It's just now where the ask is becoming greater.
Newly erected extra high fences.
So they're asking the state governor to send more resources.
The state governor, huh?
To help the local police department. Now, the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago, they've been very vocal about how there is no crime problem in Chicago whatsoever and how these are...
No, they haven't.
peaceful protesters. Do you think this local police chief is going to get increased resources to deal with out-of-control rioters? That would almost be an admission of the fact that none of this is peaceful. None of this is...
What? Why would the local police chief... The request for additional support was ICE. ICE wants more police support.
good for America, and that all of it is just pure violence, aggression, and hatred towards law enforcement. Speaking of which...
Evening, supporters of ICE got intense verbal altercations with protesters.
I'm not anti-immigrant, I'm anti-crime. And that's why I'm here supporting these guys,
that's
because
based,
I think they're getting a bad rap
that's
by
right.
the governor.
Yeah, that's great.
And they're getting a bad rap by Brandon Johnson.
Whole streets! Our streets! Protesters also marched to block streets in the area around the facility.
So stupid.
So dumb. Stupid.
The Department of Homeland
I hate protests. I hate the Constitution. I hate the right to assembly. That's fucking gay. That's fucking gay. I love cops. Yum, 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 yum. More AI thumbnails, please. This shit works, man. I should do it. Will you all be cool if I pivoted in this direction? I just need to figure out what his prompts are for like for Grok. That's cool? Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna learn to do the YouTube voice. Yeah, we're bringing back lobotomies, but just for conservatives. Would you be able to tell a difference after? Oh, yeah. So again, this is just if you search Chicago. These are the playlists for the news or whatever. Next up, New York Post. After that, Tyler Oliveira, most dangerous hood in Chicago. And then the Associated Press. Man, we are right back in like 2016 where the YouTube algorithm is just fucking dominated by Hitler, you know? There was a brief period of time where YouTube was tooling their algorithm so that maybe if you looked up vaccine, the top result shouldn't be like anti-vaccine conspiracy theorists. And if you looked up climate change, the top result shouldn't be anti-climate change conspiracy theorists. But we're past that point. No word from the Hindustan Times. Oh, I'm sure we can find them. You know, if we scroll down a little bit. A lot of New York Post, actually. Look, if you scroll, eventually, if you scroll for long enough, you hit the Hindustan Times. But we don't need to get there. Anyway, yeah. 200 National Guardsmen is not enough to do anything but provoke. So we'll see. We'll see how well they provoke. You know? Fuck Hamilton in his post. That's true. Are they even getting paid? The Hindustan Times or the YouTubers that we just looked at? Hamilton's a shitty play anyhow? No, it's not. That's cope. You can acknowledge that it's liberal bullshit, but you have to acknowledge that it's good structurally. Otherwise, you just come across as, you know, bitter. Did you see Randy Fine saying racist shit to Mom Don? Racist shit from Randy Fine? That's crazy. Bear found in woods? Fat retard found in halls of Congress? What do you want? Are the National Guard even being paid? I think they count as emergency staff. So yeah, I think they get paid. Maybe that's wrong. My statement on the 2-year anniversary of October 7th. Seems a little bit unnecessary, to be honest. I'm not sure why Mamdani would... I wonder if he was pressed to do this by somebody. You know? Like, people who think that Mamdani is an anti-Semite or people who are Islamophobic against Mamdani are going to continue being both of those things no matter what he says. And he said the right thing like hundreds of times. So I don't really know how much more you can do there. I don't know who you're really speaking to. Oh, are all the angry people like lefties who are mad for saying that he said October 7th was bad? Yes? Ah, well, you know. Circular firing squad. Well, it's not really circular firing squad because a lot of these people aren't even meaningfully left anyway. They're just anti-American, which is, you know, good, but it doesn't necessarily make you left. Did you see people being mad he said Maduro is a dictator? Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Mamdani was asked if he thinks that Muro and Miguel Diaz-Canel are dictators, and he said yes, because they both objectively are, and lefties are mad about it. He's doing, like, Radio Free Press stuff or whatever. What's crazy is the Communist Party of Venezuela also calls him a dictator. It's just a meaningless. It's just for like lefties who have condemned themselves to permanent political ineffectiveness by, you know, hinging their identity and their vision for the future entirely on defending objectively bad ideas and objectively unpopular people in objectively failed societies. I don't think Cuba's a failed society. I do think the government of Cuba has been doing a pretty bad job. Certainly not as bad as Venezuela, though. Like, Maduro is basically indefensible. The only reason anybody would defend Maduro is if they just hated the United States so much they were reflexively defending anyone the U.S. didn't like. Which, you know, you could do that for Hitler if you want. It doesn't matter. The military's not getting paid. Yippee! Wonder if he'll be yelled at for harming DSA's international solidarity work. What? What is the DSA doing to advance the... What does that even mean? My international solidarity. These people are so dumb. Well, they don't actually believe in anything. They don't have, like, a political project they care about. You gotta have a project. Here's a clip of Cuomo on The View yesterday, unable to define democratic socialism. I can't show The View clips. Also, I can't define democratic socialism. I fucking hate that term, man. Socialism, definitionally, is democratic. I reject any other definitions of socialism. I feel like you're capitulating otherwise. I don't really believe in authoritarian. So how do the workers own the means of production? How do you have a one-party state where the workers own the means of production and somehow it's not democratic? I don't understand. He's occasionally okay, Thana, for sure. Come on, don't be a purist. There can be democratic and authoritarian socialism. Well, if you want to make an argument for, like, the potential existence of authoritarian socialism, then I would much prefer you just append socialism with socialism parentheses but authoritarian, because socialism, in its default state, should be considered democratic. It is, like, objectively an economic and social program that advances liberalism as a social, endeavor, as an effort to democratize and make equal human beings by introducing those same principles to the economic forces of of society, right? Like I feel like democracy should just be assumed. I don't know why we would toss that out and have to like specify it with the terminology. Don't believe in that shit. No. Either way. They come up with a new threat, guys.
A Trump administration official telling CNN a draft White House memo suggests furloughed employees may not be entitled to back pay for the time they were told not to work during the shutdown. CNN's Elena Treen is at the White House along with Paula Newton.
No back pay. Let's go. This is a very good way to you know, for one, bias the federal workers in favor of you, and two, get good work out of the people who are currently there because they have to be.
So, Elena, I do want to start with you on this because the
like, if you're not getting paid, what the fuck are you working for? If you're one of the emergency federal workers who is like expected to stay on board even without pay, what the hell are you doing there?
Was just asked about this memo and this idea of those furloughed workers not getting back pay. What did he have to say?
Yeah, he didn't rule it out. He said essentially that it will depend on who the federal employee is when it comes to this decision of whether or not they're going to get back paid while they are furloughed.
So it's just slave labor? No, that is not, in fact, what slavery is.
During the shutdown. Listen to how he put it.
I would say it depends on who we're talking about. I can tell you this, the Democrats have put a lot of people in great risk and jeopardy, but it really depends on who you're talking about. But for the most part, we're going to take care of our people. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way.
So, Eric, it's very unclear what he means by people who don't deserve to be taken care of. And, of course, we'll be pressing the White House further on that. But, look, this is
I'm sure you'll really hold his feet to the fire. Yeah, you know, to the workers you like, you give them back pay. To the workers you don't give them back pay.
Very different interpretation of the law. Typically during shutdowns, federal employees who are furloughed, essentially temporarily laid off while the government is not operating as the way it should be, they aren't paid, but then they are paid, and they get back pay at the end and conclusion of a shutdown. And this is a different, again, interpretation of one of the laws. We saw an updated version of this memo, which came from the White House Budget Office, essentially saying that they believe the law, it's called the Government Employee Fair Treatment Act. They are arguing that it's being misinterpreted. So all of this to say, stay tuned for that and whether or not this is actually going to be something the Trump administration moves forward with.
And the big question, too, is what happens to all these workers? Look, there's 750,000 furloughed federal workers as the government is shut down. He was asked if they would be paid. Of course, there's a law requiring they get paid, and he acknowledged that later. He said it depends on who we are talking about. And then he said they want to, quote, permanently eliminate programs that are...
They're such bitches, man. Remember Trump posting that fucking "Here Comes the Reaper" vote clip, and then like nobody's been fired. They were just bluffing again. They're always lying all the time. Total bullshit. And now they're desperately trying to turn up the heat by threatening not to do back pay, but everyone's blaming the Republicans anyway. Like, their goal here was to force the government to shut down and to make people hate Democrats for it. And despite every effort on their part, it's just not working. People still are blaming the Republicans for this. So please, turn it up. Make people miserable.
He didn't say which ones, but amid the shutdown, this is the threat, and he's ratcheting it up.
Yeah, now there's a twofold threat, right? The first threat was we're going to eliminate these programs, which means mass layoffs. We know that OMB Director Russell Vought had presented him with a list of various agencies and programs that weren't, quote unquote, aligned with this administration. That's where the layoffs would come from. We've been hearing this threat from the White House, from Caroline Leavitt at the podium, as well as from President Trump now for days. Now they've escalated to a new threat. The new threat is that these federal workers might not get their back pay if he chooses not to give it to them. Now, how that would even work seems completely suspect, right? You're looking at a huge pool of federal workers. He wouldn't give any ideas of who might get back pay and who wouldn't, how you would parse out exactly giving money back to certain areas and not to certain areas. That seems
Vosh, I know you've been AOC skeptical, but she's been good at messaging so far. Yeah, AOC is typically good when it comes to messaging on the Republicans. I just think she needs to be harder on the Democrats. And also the way she reacted after criticism for her vote on Iron Dome funding was, as it always has been, unacceptable. There's no justification for voting for the Iron Dome funding.
a very complicated thing, but it certainly is a threat now that they're making as they continue to try and needle these Democrats.
Well, you know, Trump kept saying that the Democrats don't have anything to lose, and it seems like he keeps like giving them reasons to feel that way. Like, number one, he was already letting a lot of people go, and now he's saying he's going to do more of that. He already wasn't adhering to the funding, you know, bills that had already been passed because he's cutting programs left and right without Congress's input. So the question is, well, what do we have to lose? You're going to keep doing this anyway. And also, Democrats right now, they are on the winning side of the shutdown, right? Like no one wins.
So far, that seems to be the case. Yeah, I'm surprised it's not working out in the Republicans' favor. I honestly, I really just think it's that it's really, really, really difficult to get people to blame the Democrats for this when your entire fucking opening line in this presidency was slash and burn. Like, you were coming out the gate screaming, we're firing all the workers. We don't give a fuck about your feelings. We're cutting the government. We're running it lean. Like, they fucked themselves with the branding here. Even for Republicans. Like, you know, it's not just like a partisan thing.
The shutdown, but right now people are looking at the White House and Republicans and are blaming them, and I don't think it helps when you have Trump and the White House kind of saying now, oh, we're not going to give them back pay. People have lived through a lot of shutdowns, you know, in recent years. They know this doesn't have to happen, and so it seems like the White House is making this choice, and you're saying you're going to hurt the Democrats, but I think people at home can see you're just hurting regular people just going to work.
Yeah, I mean, Trump has been threatening. The strategy here has been to use the power of the government to go after things that Democrats like, go after federal employees, get Democrats to cave. But so far, that strategy is not working. And there's a sign here that from what Trump is saying.
Yeah, can we like the most conditional asterisk fucking praise possible to the Democrats? I can't believe it, but it's real. They actually haven't folded. So far, Schumer and Jeffries have not folded, and it's working. I'm surprised. I'm sure that when the Republicans start to actually negotiate and compromise, they will accept a compromise solution, and I think that's pussy shit. But I guess I just expected less of them, as I will continue to in the future. I want to make it clear. I am not adjusting my priors in any way, shape, or form here, okay?
It's going to go on for a while, the shutdown.
Certainly, and look, last week at the beginning of the shutdown, we had announcements from Russell Vought that he was canceling green energy projects in blue states that had voted for Kamala Harris.
And Trump just said they were going to, quote, permanently eliminate programs.
He canceled funding for projects in New York to try to put pressure on Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, both from New York. There have been no further announcements of other things like that. But what Trump, he also said when he was
they were going to cut those New York programs anyway.
About which workers might not get their pay, he said the ones who deserve it might not get it, right? So look, this is a selective enforcement of the cuts and a selective look at where they're going to be taking money from. It is very clearly politicized and very clearly targeted at Democrats, but as much as I think your point is right, we can talk about this as part of the big battle, but these are people who are now out of jobs.
Don't worry, the moment Dems discover the TikTok cat brain rot can give them real political leverage, I'm sure they'll be vigilant. Genuinely, didn't that cat brain rot video, can somebody find it for me, did that not get a bunch of views on like Instagram and stuff and TikTok? I know it didn't do great on Twitter, but I believe it actually did get a lot of attention. Listen, we are in a brain rot era. I do not care if the Democrats have to get their point across. I have right now, forgive me, a very, very, very low opinion of the average American. Shockingly low. Like my faith in the concept of democracy is teetering on the brink right now. Whether or not materially the conditions are present for democracy to function as a system, this is like actually up in the air. in my head, all right? If we need to do the brain rot, TikTok, whatever, to reach people, look, there is no level of retardation we could stoop to that would even come close to matching the Republicans. Like, brain rot is nothing compared to what they have. Nothing compared to what they do. It's not even remotely comparable. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Republican and Democrat kiddies cannot agree on what should be funded. Democrat kiddies want you to have health care. Republican kiddies do not. Republican kiddies control the Senate, House, and the White House, so they're using that to cut your health care and give money to billionaires. Democrat kitty tries to negotiate, but Republican kitty keeps running away. He has a vacation to get to. Uh-oh, suddenly the money you pay for your health insurance has tripled. Thanks, Republicans.
It's not really inaccurate, you know. It's more nuanced than this, but fundamentally it's essentially true, yeah, you know. In that respect, it's better than anything Republicans can make. It does look like they're sweating a bit. Hold on, Mike Johnson.
It is true that in previous shutdowns, many or most of them have been paid for the time that they were furloughed. But there is new legal analysis. I don't know the details. I just saw a headline this morning. I'm not read in on it, and I haven't spoken to the White House about it. But there are some legal analysts who are saying that that may not be appropriate or necessary in terms of the law requiring that back pay be provided. So I'm sure that'll be there will be a lot of discussion about that. But there are legal analysts who think that that is not something that government should do. That
he sounds really weak here. This is a really, really, really bad way of framing this. Oh, sorry guys. Like, yeah, I don't know. I guess we might have to like not do back pay. I guess you're just going to be out money. Like you're just going to have a hard time making bills. Yeah, sorry. Thanks to us and our party, like nearly 1 million federal workers are just going to have to, you know, borrow money from a relative or something. Like, Jesus.
So they created a red herring. A red herring is a distraction. They decided that they would pick a fight on health care. Well, let me look right into the camera and tell you very clearly. Republicans are the ones concerned about health care. Republicans are the party working around the clock every day to fix health care. This is not talking points for us. We've done it. A big part of the One Big Beautiful...
Somebody has clearly talked to him and informed him that a majority of voters are blaming Republicans for this.
Beautiful bill, the working families tax cut, was to fix health care. Health care is broken in America. It's too expensive. The quality of care needs to rise. We need more access for more people, and we have lots of ideas to do that. But that issue is for debate in the next 3 months. It always was. We have members working on that.
We got to take their lessons, man. Every time the Democrats made a mistake, Republicans would drive the knife in and twist it for as long as they could get away with, you know? They're still using Big Red in their damn YouTube thumbnails. Not that that was a Democrat mistake or anything, just, you know, they don't let it go. The Republicans fucked up here. They forced a shutdown and refused to negotiate, and people blame them for it. And now it's like the Democrats are the ones who get to decide how much this is going to hurt Republicans. If Democrats immediately capitulate, like if they capitulated basically before the shutdown even began, Republicans only gain. Now, this still looks pretty bad for them. Another week, another 2. Please keep talking about how you're not going to give back pay to furloughed workers. I'm sure when the entire federal workforce comes back in, they're going to be delighted by their forced 3 weeks of missing income. You know, that's really going to help in this economy. Please, no, take credit for it. Own up to it. Talk about it. We've all seen the videos where you gleefully talk about firing people, you know? How can this end as a W for Democrats? Right now, it already is. Right now, even if the shutdown ended this very moment, this is a win for Democrats. The Republicans fucked this up. This was a huge mistake on their part. They made it too obvious that this is their fault, which it is. Just got to build on it. But how can Dems fumble this? At this point, I think it will always be a net win for Democrats. I think that the Democrats could make the landing worse for them if they capitulate in a really embarrassing or public way, or God forbid, if they take shared ownership over the shutdown. Like for some reason, Schumer goes out there and says like, you know, Republicans and I couldn't get along, therefore, even if he did that, I still think more people would blame the Republicans, but that would be like the worst thing he could do, I think.
So I'm in a swing district. We have other members in swing districts. We took the hard votes on reconciliation. We've been beat to crap over what we did on Medicaid. You know, because you all have seen it. Bernie Sanders came here in February to attack me. Pete Buttigieg has been here to attack me. They've been on broadcast. They've been on radio. There are billboards all across the district. They have had fake town halls all over. Even now, you know, Barton and Cedar Rapids Gazette. When's Miller Meek's going to hold the town hall? When hell freezes over. You know, I don't have to hold a town hall so you can come and yell at me. You can yell at me at the county fair, and you did. And you did.
It is insane how much these people hate their constituents, dude.
They did. You know? You yell at me in church, you yell at me at the county fair.
Oh God, I love this shit. Like this is like fucking ambrosia directly into my veins. This is the mead. Have you guys ever had mead? Like real mead, like the honey fermented, like the really strong stuff? It's like a big gulp of that, you know? That shit's like, I don't even know. It's like alcoholic sweet hot sauce. I don't even know how to, is it good? It's very different from beer or cider or whatever. It's honey fermented. It's, you take a bit. I can understand how mead got to be thought of as like the drink that gods like, you know, because it's very, very strong and it's very, very flavorful, you know. At least the good stuff is. I'm sure I had some expensive stuff once at an event. Maybe there's like less potent versions of it that I haven't had, but it was pretty dang good.
I'm out in public all the damn time. Someone yelled at me at the Speedway. You have plenty of opportunities to yell at me and tell me I should be ashamed of myself. And by the way, I am not.
They're clapping for this. They're clapping for this. I hate my voters. I don't want to go outside because they might see me and throw rocks at me. Like hell, I'll do a town hall. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. Okay. She won by just 0.19% in 2024, by the way. Well, I have a feeling 2026 is not going to be as kind to her. Who are the people in these room? Other politicians. The way she's talking, I assume these are people, maybe not politicians, people in the party, not like random constituents. Okay. I have to move quickly because I have to end stream on time today, which I apologize for. I have an event today that you can't know about. Why can't you know about it? Well, if I don't tell you about how banal it is, you'll think it's cool. And that mystery, that mystique, it'll probably get me an extra donor or two, you know? People are going to be like, good luck with your thing. And I'm like, you don't know. I just have to go to the bank. Have a nice haircut? Oh, I wish. No. I wish it was a haircut. I really need to get, I need to go to a barber. Yeah. By the time the thing is done, the barber shop's going to be closed. So anyway. Fun with the tuba lessons. Speaking of ambrosia directly into my veins, or mead, whatever analogy we want to go with here. You know how Bad Bunny is going to be headlining the Super Bowl halftime show? Very big deal. You know, big American culture, very good. Bad Bunny is, of course, a very popular artist. You know, not really I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong. I believe I'm completely correct here. Bad Bunny is like an order of magnitude more popular than the previous Super Bowl halftime headliner, Kendrick Lamar, right? Like, Kendrick Lamar is obviously huge, but Bad Bunny, my understanding is that he's like really, really, really big, right? I could be wrong on that. Maybe I inflame people unnecessarily there. My understanding was that Bad Bunny was huge. Like, big international market. Internationally, yes. Nationally, no. Well, the NFL is probably trying to cater more international interest. I mean, it would, after all, be in their financial interest. Like, soccer benefits from being an international sport. The NFL probably doesn't like the fact that it's an America sport, you know? I don't even know how you can play football, you know, American football in other countries. I don't even know. Do they even they have teams? Probably not, right? They have soccer teams in America, but it's illegal. It's probably illegal. They probably kill you if you do that. Anyway, the point is, Bad Bunny is not a fan of Trump, and he is vocal about it. He has been vocal about it. He's been chosen as the halftime headliner, and Republicans have been mad. Now Trump seems to be mad. I don't know what this video contains. I just wanted to talk about it.
The NFL just chose the Bad Bunny Rabbit, or whatever his name, this guy who hates ICE. He doesn't like you. He accuses everything he doesn't like of racism. Do you think maybe we should just kind of entertain blowing off the NFL, like a boycott or something along those lines?
Again, I don't know how we reached this point, but somehow we in the national divorce, Democrats kept the NFL. I genuinely do not understand how we got here. Is it a Taylor Swift thing, like Taylor Swift's husband, or I do not get it. I don't get it.
Donald Trump is weighing in on Bad Bunny being selected as the Apple Music Super Bowl 60 halftime show.
That's a very interesting outfit.
Performer. In an interview with Newsmax on October 6th, host Greg Kelly referred to the Puerto Rican rapper as Bad Bunny Rabbit and asked the president if people should potentially boycott the NFL over the choice, claiming the 31-year-old hates ICE.
The NFL just chose the Bad Bunny Rabbit, or whatever his name, this guy who hates ICE. He doesn't like you.
Why not
he
skip
accuses
ahead?
Everything he doesn't like of racism. Do you think maybe we should just kind of entertain blowing off the NFL, like a boycott or something along those lines? This guy does not seem like a unifying entertainer, and a lot of folks don't even know who he is.
I never heard of him. I don't know who he is. I don't know why they're doing it. It's like crazy. And then they blame it on some promoter that they hired to pick up entertainment. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Though Trump did not.
I think that might be the end of the actual commentary, and the rest of this is going to be he did an SNL response? Oh yeah, I saw this. Look, I talked the other day about, I can't play SNL. I talked the other day about how conservatives will always be mad, like fascists will always be mad, because what they want is an indefinite culture war, and they want the approval of cultural institutions to reaffirm their biases and their insecurities, and they're never going to get it because they're unlikable, and art doesn't like them, and they don't like art. So they're always going to be left out of the loop artistically. There's always this like this contrast between the fascist and the thing the fascist likes, right? Fascists love media that hates fascists, you know? Like, basically every good story reaffirms values like truth, democracy, or at the very least freedom, you know, liberation from oppression, anti-bigotry, and so on. It doesn't matter. We could be talking, yeah, Star Wars or Avatar: The Last Airbender is a big one, because that aired like during the childhoods of a lot of people who are today fascists. So in their head, they're like, Lord of the Rings. Yeah, fascists are like, yeah, I love Lord of the Rings because J.R.R. Tolkien, you know, believed in objective morality in Christendom. And it's like, buddy, do you know how Tolkien thought about you? You know how Tolkien thought about your ideology? It's not a hidden bit. It's not a little detail of his life. It's well known. Tolkien was complicated. You know what wasn't complicated? How he felt about Nazis. You don't have to hold water for this conversation, okay? Yeah, a guy who was born 500 years ago is problematic. Whatever the fuck, okay? We know perfectly well how he thought. Yeah, as far as he's concerned, Nazis are the orcs, okay? Anyway, the fascists, they're always run up against this. I feel like there are a lot of them who are going to be in this position with, you know, Bad Bunny as well, or maybe just the NFL, because I feel like a lot of these people, day in, day out, you know, Trumpers, MAGA, whatever, live in willful denial, like self-delusion, about how much the things they like hate them. You know what I mean? Like, if they like this TV show or this movie, this musician, like, they have to pretend that they're not the bad guy, as described in these fables. You know what I mean? Because they are the bad guy, right? Like, there's no world, like, basically every treatise on morality you get from anything from children's books to, like, classic literature, none of these things endorse Nazism. None of them. No, you're not going to get that from any of these books. No one would want to read it. No one would. Who the fuck wants to read a, like, I don't know, some grand Western epic, and, like, the lesson of the epic is that some people are just better than other people, and the world should belong to the better people. I mean, they made Atlas Shrugged, and it's shit. That's it, though. It's really, really bad, like, writing. It's not satisfying. It's narratively opposed to what we believe in as humans. The human spirit resists that impulse. The idea of the narrative arc where people can become great, or they used to be great, but they've fallen. This is common to, I mean, you look at Tolkien, right? They say, well, Tolkien had objective morality. Tolkien is the story of hobbits saving Middle-earth, buddy. It's the story of humble, weak people through humility and perseverance overcoming a trial because they lack the greed and the ambition that would have driven one of the other races to have coveted the ring. And you have good people fallen from great. You know, Boromir. I'm sorry, it's you know, it's Lord of the Rings. We've all watched Lord of the Rings. Maybe some of you have read Lord of the Rings. I'm not that cool. I've watched Lord of the Rings. I've always wondered, so fascists watch Indiana Jones like it's a horror movie? No, and that's exactly what I mean. When fascists watch Indiana Jones, and I'm not speculating, I've seen them talk about this on social media, okay? What they think is that Indiana Jones disliked Nazis only because they were on opposite sides of an arbitrary conflict. In their mind, Indiana Jones is still the white hero. An Übermensch, a strong man who takes what he wants and does what he needs to. And the fact that the Nazis were the enemy is a circumstantial thing. Like, you know, they were just on the other team. It's like watching Bonnie and Clyde and seeing how they treat cops. Or the Blues Brothers, right? Like, you don't watch the Blues Brothers and think like, oh, this movie is ideologically, well, I mean, you can, of course, but like a lot of people probably just think of it as like a wacky, zany, you know, hijinks film. You're not really necessarily thinking about it in the context of an ideological condemnation of police. That's how they feel about Indiana Jones. You get me, right? You all agree? This is real. I'm not joking. They actually think that. When, like, they just ignore the... When they hear Nazis, I hate those guys from Indy, what they hear there is like... what they're hearing is like, oh, yeah, because they're on the other team. They don't think of it as a rejection of what the Nazis are, even though if you watch the movies... That's obviously what Jesus Christ with the Holy Grail, with the Nazis being unable to understand what, like, that Christ was a carpenter. Like the Nazi obsessed with grandiosity can't comprehend the idea of like humility being the source of Christ's. Ridiculous. Likewise, Nazis, like Nazi Star Wars fans or fascist Star Wars fans, genuinely do not see Nazism in the Empire or the First Order. I know it's insane. Like, again, it's like illness. Like, I feel like you would have to be mentally ill to not be aware of the Empire with the stormtroopers that, like, they don't... You can tell them that directly, but they won't get it. And it's like a self-defense mechanism for them. A lot of people like Star Wars. A lot of those people are fascists. If you, like, they do not want to believe that the thing they like so much feels that way about them. Yeah, it's like a self-defense, it's like a self-defense system by way of media illiteracy, which is why people on the right are so often completely illiterate, media-wise, you know? Oh yeah, I did see that. A huge country star recently put out a song criticizing ICE, and people are quite mad about it. Zach Bryan. I don't know how large they are. I know that they're notable enough to be talked about. I have no idea how. I don't know if they're, you know, super big or whatever. Massive star. Okay. All right. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. Is it good though? Well, it's country, so you know. Is this like them labeling the games they like as non-woke, even though they so clearly are, like Bayonetta? Yeah, I basically the point that I'm getting at here, I think, is that the reason why MAGA is so upset here about Bad Bunny being the Super Bowl headliner is because, in addition to the fact that they just want to wage a permanent culture war and are upset that these institutions will never really approve of them, on the other side of things, right? They're probably upset because it draws more attention to the, like, contrast in their heads between the fact that they are evil and everything they like in the world is good. You know, fascists might like evil in an abstract sense. Like, a fascist will watch a video of a innocent father of four, a Latin American, getting tackled to the ground by ICE and go, based, based, based. They might like that, you know, as an abstraction of a broader political conflict, sure. But obviously, like, in day-to-day life, fascists like good things the same way everyone else. Like, fascists also like sleeping in a comfy bed and the smell of freshly baked cookies and blah blah blah, right? Like, they don't actually have like a demon's reversed sensory stimuli where they're, you know, well, actually, I think that getting hit in the head feels good. Of course, they're people, you know. And I think that you see that in the fables they value. You take a look at the narratives that fascists value, the stories they like, and I bet you those stories, overwhelmingly, are going to be just as committed to the principles of virtue, fairness, equality, and so on, as the ones you and I like. They're not like going out there. The millions of Americans who are fascists are not going out there and finding like weird indie edge case movies and media where actually like the bad things happen and the bad things are good, and they watch that and they're like, yes, I like this because I like bad things. You know, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm sounding stupid. Was what I'm saying making sense? I'm trying to like provide some context for this indefinite culture war shit, you know? They want to believe that their values align with the values that they believe are good. But in reality, they don't. So they have to, you know, try to draw attention away from this contrast. Even Warhammer 40k is somewhat anti-Nazi if you look into it. Looking into it in this case being knowing anything about it, reading anything about it, learning anything about it, hearing the people who write the books or the company that produces the entire universe, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would be a classic example for sure. It's basically impossible to know anything about 40k and learn about the Imperium and think that they're doing things well. The fact that they're doing things poorly is like a point of basically every story they appear in. But, you know, willful ignorance, right? The closest thing they have to their media is the Turner Diaries. Yes, Svervin, but the important thing is they don't read the Turner Diaries. None of these fucking people are reading the Turner Diaries. None of these people are reading Mein Kampf. They don't actually do that. American fascists aren't reading Mein Kampf. They might watch fascist YouTube videos, but they're watching, like, Star Wars. They're not detached from the cultural, like, the broader cultural conversation. Anyway, sorry. Hopefully this makes some sense. It's just a self-defense mechanism. I don't know. Well, sometimes I think even a space marine would scoff at the idea of Nazism. Not sure about fascism, though. Well, the Imperium is objectively theocratic, like totalitarian. Well, it depends on the planet you're on. If you explain Nazism to a space marine and you were like, okay, so the Jews, they would probably interrupt you and ask what the Jews are, because there's one religion in the imperial cult is the I think they would get hung up on that one, you know. We need to move on. Can somebody please, I'm asking very nicely, so I'd appreciate it if you didn't take forever, give me an archive link to this article, because I would very much like to talk about it. It would make me ever so happy if you would do that. Please. Why? Get your bread up, Brokey. Man, you guys are so fast. You're so fast. And it's all the same link, too. I don't really know how that works, to be honest with you. I don't know how that works. Trump isn't cool anymore. I've got good news for you. One of the reasons Trump won in 2024, and one of the reasons he did well in 2020, was because he appealed to a demographic of low IQ dude bros who are caught up in modern culture, you know, gaming, live streaming, podcasts, whatever else. The red pill dude bro audience, you know, it's you know, we're not talking like regular staunch Christian conservatives. We're talking the kind of person who would watch Theo Von. Vosh, all this is happening way too fast. It turns out, you're not going to believe this, okay? Being an epic, cool, countercultural, free speech loving, epic, awesome, you know, centrist who's just interested in how Trump's going to break up the deep state is way more fun when he's not in office. And when he is in office, getting nonstop news feed, like daily video drops of ICE agents assaulting people, and the Epstein file release has been delayed yet again, it turns out it's actually not so cool. So Trump went on all these podcasts and he said what he was going to do, and now he's doing those things, and the people who once endorsed him are now disavowing him. Why? Not because of any change in policy, but he's just not cool anymore. Sorry. It's actually like really lame. When do you see Trump these days? He's senile, he's blathering, he comes across as angry. Oh, I want to send the military in. Okay. All right, buddy. That's not very #epic. Fucking, where are the Epstein files? Yeah, you lose the cool factor. Your theory of the Trump administration burning through all their political capital in the first year was objectively true. Yeah, people forgot about this, man. People forgot. The cultural capital that Donald Trump won over the course of the Biden administration had very little to do with the actual, like, Republican base in this country, because they were already going to vote for Trump. It was about this kind of audience. It was about this, like, building tsunami of, like, every single dude bro guy who was sick of the fact that the Democrats were indefensible, like, not indefensible in the sense of what they did was horrendous, though it was, of course, especially with Gaza, but indefensible in the sense of, like, how the fuck do you, as a dude bro podcaster, go up there and talk positively about Biden? Come on. At least Trump has the main character energy. So Democrats gave you nothing to work with. Republicans did, because Trump was going on all your shows, you know. He would go on there and he would say literally whatever he had to win your support. And yeah, now it's all falling apart. Fascism is a politics of emotion, and when the emotion fizzles out, the politics falls apart. Yeah, to a large extent, yeah. It's difficult to keep things going as a 24/7 rally. Manosphere podcasters didn't win Trump the presidency in the 2024 election cycle, but they went a long way to solidifying the president's support among large swaths of the young men who follow them. I actually disagree. I think that if Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, and Joe Rogan were not pro-Trump, I think he would have lost the 2024 election cycle. I fully believe that, yeah. Certainly he wouldn't have won every single swing state. Nine months into the implementation of the president's agenda, the same ultra-popular podcasters and streamers who lent their audiences to the president in 2024 are scrambling to break with his government. I really, really wish I never got into politics, Kick streamer Aiden Ross recently told his audience. I just don't think I'll ever care enough again for another politician. So the same thing is basically going to happen to all of them, right? It's the same thing that happened to Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones. Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones aren't stupid. They have a brand that they want to sell long after Trump is dead. So they have both, at various points in time, distanced themselves from the mainstream MAGA movement, both to distinguish themselves, make sure they have their own carve-out of a community, but also, you know, neither of them want to be in a position where the year is 2033 and they're like tiredly, haggardly defending Trump's legacy as yet more evidence of him being a pedophile comes out, you know? Nick Fuentes does not want to enter his 40s getting, you know, donation messages popping up in the corner of a screen from people whose names are just a chain of ethnic slurs asking him whether or not, you know, he should, whether or not they should break up with their girlfriend for thinking that Trump was at, you know, little St. James. They don't want to attach themselves to this. Aiden Ross, likewise. Aiden Ross is very stupid. Presumably his handlers are smart. Oh yeah, give me the video of him saying this. Please.
I had a call with someone in my team. Can I tell you guys something? Now that I look back on it, I really, really wish I never got into like politics. And I feel like that's a cool thing to like talk about. Obviously, it's like, you know,
in 2024, when he was aggressively promoting Donald Trump, you could get a lot of attention, energy, and money by aggressively promoting Donald Trump. The drooling retards that watch him and the children were all really, they were posting lots of W's about it, okay? They weren't posting a lot of L's, they were posting many W's. Now, it's really tough to defend Trump online. I don't know if you guys saw, but like Asmongold responded to this shift in content creators moving away from Trump by saying, and I quote, "Apart from the Epstein stuff, Trump has been doing a pretty good job." And the replies are mostly people clowning on him from both the left and the right. A lot of the people on the right being like, apart from the Epstein stuff, you know, like a lot of the, it's, these aren't staunch Christian conservatives, okay? These are people who are desperate, lonely, stupid, just looking for their next emotional high. Trump getting to win was the emotional high. Right now, it's just kind of lame.
I just kind of like, I know y'all didn't like that era at all, except for the Trump like stream. Obviously, at the end of the day, it was the president. Like, but like, now that I look back at it, it's like, damn, like so many people just tie me to it. And now it's just like, fuck, like no matter what, they don't even get to know who I am. Because they don't like even want to. Oh, he did this stream with Trump.
See, it's bad for the brand now. Now it's like, okay, the crop of 12-year-olds watching me back then was super hyped up for Trump because we saw so many epic memes of him and how Biden and Harris were the deep state and we're going to take them down and he's going to release the Epstein files. But now that Trump's second administration is mostly one defined by failure and secrecy, and it's really embarrassing to defend, now it's bad optics to the next crop of 12-year-olds.
You get what I'm saying? Like, and I really, really understand other people's side, and
I kind of think Aiden Ross is perfect to break this down because he's not smart enough to be dishonest about his feelings. Yeah, to an extent, he's honest in that respect. I've never really thought Aiden Ross was like a hardcore neo-Nazi or whatever. He's just really stupid, and his team directs him to do stuff that'll make them the most money, and that usually involves catering to the lowest common denominator.
As I'm getting older, I'm just like seeing like, I just don't think I'll ever care enough again for any other politician ever in the future, just because it's like, at the end of the day, bro, like, humans. We're all humans, you know? And
Great stuff. When stuff swings around, by the way, if we do get like future Democratic primaries with high-profile populist leadership, I would not at all be surprised if Aiden Ross starts to hitch his wagon to that ride. You know, Aiden Ross would absolutely support like a 2016 Bernie Sanders presidential run if it could happen today. They just can't be neolibs? Yeah, no, exactly. They just have to be something that gets the young people in the audience to go, let's go, you know? I'm honestly fine with that. Well, I'm not fine with him, but it is worth remembering that a lot of people, individuals and like grifting content creators, really do just blow with the wind. And that's just a part of nature. That's just normal. You know what I mean? That's normal. Like, it's always been that way in every country. And frankly, I think it's the responsibility of the Democratic establishment to provide candidates who energize their voters. You know? Like, the fact that Aiden Ross is a grifter is almost immaterial to the point. The point here is that grifters blow with the wind, and Democrats have not invited the wind to blow in their direction. So frankly, I think that they should have better wind blowing spells. You get me, right? Here's the video of Theo Von turning on Trump. Sure. Exact same case with Theo Von, by the way. Exact same case.
My father immigrated here from Nicaragua, right? Like, one of my prized possessions is I have his immigration papers when he came here. And I have them in a frame, and him and his siblings when they came here. And so I have tons of thoughts about it, but this was just fucked up, right? It was fucked up. And it was everywhere. It was like on all platforms and stuff. So that had me really kind of paranoid. You know, that had me start to get kind of paranoid and, you know, like closing, like, you know, I had the curtains in my house kind of closed. I was just like, you know, you're paranoid. I woke up the next morning. Sorry, I need some water.
How was Theo Von ever on Trump's side? Huh? Theo Von had Trump on multiple times and was explicitly endorsing him and getting along with him. Like, well, okay, Theo Von did not explicitly endorse him in the sense of like, I am Theo Von and I approve of this message. But, you know, you'd have to be an idiot to not understand what he was doing. But again, it's not about Trump for him. It's just about like the let's go W's in chat. That's it. It's the same for all these people. Joe Rogan is doing the same thing.
I woke up the next morning to a text from a high government official saying, hey, if you need some extra security in your neighborhood or some extra police cars on patrol, let me know. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Extra security? I don't have any, like, you know, I don't even know the code to my Ring camera. Like, I don't even know how to log in. So it's like, and like, what, you're just going to put police cars in my neighborhood? What are my neighbors going to think now? They're fearful. Like, it just like, I don't know, man. That like really kind of shook me. It really kind of shook me. But you keep marching on, you know, and you start getting security. And then now you have security, right? And the thing is, you just don't know. You just don't know. Right? There was a moment really on the, like, it was White House, because the White House also put this out.
Okay, gee, it's really difficult. I can't believe so many people listen to this guy. It's so fucking difficult to listen to him talk. Holy shit. God, they're so fucking stupid and boring. It's crazy. Oh, by the way, his father immigrated from Nicaragua. Trump tried to end the protected status for Nicaraguans back in his first term and wasn't able to because of the courts. He did as soon as he started his second term. So there you go. Well, not as soon as. It was a little while in. So, but he probably doesn't know this. But again, it's just important to understand, like, none of these people... The Democrats need to do a better job of getting populist grifters on their side, man, because there will always, 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 always be populist grifters, and you cannot You cannot, in this era of history, run a party that relies on everyone being a well-informed technocrat who is willing to accept marginal improvements when there could be major improvements. Ross presented Trump a custom Cybertruck. Now figures like Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, and Theo Vaughn, who all provided friendly, non-confrontational spaces for the presidential campaign agenda, are, like Ross, retreating from the MAGA movement. Joe Rogan put out a bunch of clips recently. Well, he hasn't put out the clips, but there have been clips that have been circulating where he's, you know, like he's talking about how what ICE is doing is brutal and so on. Andrew Schultz has been, you know, kind of distancing himself. Isn't grifting against what leftists believe in? What? Grifters can be anywhere, but also these grifters will always exist. These grifters will always exist. As long as there is a financial incentive for them to grift for populists, in an empty sense, just to get their audience on board, these people will always, 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 always exist. It's bad politics to not be able to win these people over. That's just a failure of the Democratic Party. My strategy for winning elections in an era of increasing populism and governmental distrust is I will run candidates that promise to only marginally improve things, and also they will be completely unpalatable to anyone who is populist or anyone whose audience wants populism. I am very smart. Please vote for me. Fellow technocrats, please vote for me. Yeah, no, it's the Democrats' fault for not appealing to these people. It's not like any of these people cared about Trump in like a principled way. I actually don't know much about Andrew Schultz and his pullover. Host Andrew Schultz, who once stated his 2024 vote for Trump was based on, quote, who gets the most pussy. I voted for none of this, Schultz declared in July. I remember that clip. Yes, you did. He's doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for. He's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them. All of this was known. Exactly. Clinton used to get a lot of pussy. Now Dems don't get pussy. That's seriously why he voted for Trump. Okay, then maybe the Democrats should get more pussy. Again, these people are evil, and they have done horrible, horrible damage. They're, as far as I'm concerned, criminals. However, the Democrats are, you know, making a mistake in not having candidates who get pussy. Yeah, I've seen the clip of Schultz from July. We can play it again. It's apropos.
People that like they'll DM me and be like, you see what your boy's doing? You voted for this. I'm like, I voted for none of this. He's doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for. Yeah. I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them. I want him to shrink spending, reduce the budget. He's increasing it. It's like everything that he said he's going to do, except sending immigrants back.
I will say though, probably a huge dub for us, you know, well, not probably, definitely a huge dub for us, that there is support on their end is shrinking like this. Again, if you lose the MAGA dude bro audience, if the podcasters are no longer like super duper supportive of you because they're moving on to brighter pastures, that is a significant amount of like momentum. Yeah. How do you think it's going to look for the MAGA movement when the, you know, the kids of 1-2 years from now, everyone's just like openly dunking on the cringe ass millennial neo-Nazi Homeland Security tweets, you know? Oh, wow, you put Moon Man in your fucking compilation of what America will look like after all the immigrants are deported. Wow, that's so fucking based and epic and red pilled of you. Whoa, Giga Chad memes from a government account? That's cool. That's so cool. That's so fucking awesome. I'll be real, in 2027, they'll be back on the MAGA train once the campaign paychecks start hitting again. Only if the Republican candidate gets more pussy. So don't let that happen. That's probably part of why the shutdown has led to the AI posting and slop from the admin. They're trying to fill the rapidly growing influencer slop vacuum. I mean, Homeland Security posted a video that opened with Theo Von, and Theo Von quote tweeted and said, hey, don't use this. And they actually deleted the video, which is really funny. The fact that they deleted the video not because of a copyright strike, but because an influencer asked them to, shows how insecure they feel about the unpopularity they have with these influencers. Like, they are very, very sensitive to public backlash from those people. They're aware of the fact that they, like, are part of that cultural base that won them the election. Call me cynical, but we've been here like 500 times. Every time people go, this time they're flipping on Trump, then 6 months they're lining up for daddy again. You misunderstand. I'm not talking about positions they hold. I'm talking about the energy they have. I keep telling you guys this. It is not about positions held. None of these people believe in anything. They're all grifters, and fascists don't really believe in empirical reality anyway, okay? It's about how aggressively they can maintain the 24/7 parade that fascism needs to be. And objectively, if they're in a point where they have to disavow the administration, they cannot keep that parade going. Probably a lot of it's Epstein, you know? The momentum slows. Even if they shift back towards the right because in 2028 the Democrats run fucking Pete Buttigieg or whatever, it won't have mattered because the momentum slowing means something, even if it picks back up later. Harm is being done to the administration. Or Newsom. Newsom would do much better than Buttigieg. None of these clowns asked Trump about Epstein when they had him on. Yeah, because they're all grifters, of course. Except the pod bros are addicted to rage baiting and money. And imagine it's Schumer or Jeffries. Even I'm not that cynical about the Democrats. Hunter Biden could win? Probably, yeah. How much time do I have? 30 minutes to 3. Yeah, I suppose I should probably read donations. Read donos, lazy. I was going to. There are donos there. I was going to. Oh my God. I had to leave time for it. Yeah, I'm going to read donos. If you've enjoyed the stream, like and subscribe. If you at any point during the stream gave me money and are looking forward to, you know, hearing me read your name out loud, then I got good news for you folks. It's that time. It's that time. Do we not call them tips anymore? No. Northwinds, thank you for the 2 $10 donos. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, no, of course. I'm very, very anti-conversion therapy. It's a disgusting practice. You know, even if the Supreme Court enables it in the future, it's not going to reach the level of popularity that conservatives want. Thank you. Machine, Swicemaster, and Tove, thank you for the tier 1 subs all. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Machine, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Carl Combat Wombat, thank you for the $20. Buy an espresso machine, coward. I don't want to. The Nespresso's been doing great for me. The Nespresso double espresso drinks are delicious and super, super easy to make. Pixel I7, Cats on Meth, and Eleni Express, thank you for the tier 1 subs. Mr. I2H2, thank you for the $10. Tomorrow in that case would be today. I'm flying from Sweden to Morocco to finally meet my girlfriend since January. Wish me luck. Holy shit, you're flying to Morocco? God damn. You should stop by the Cass Atlantic store and get yourself a high-quality knit or perhaps a very high-waisted pair of pants. Good luck. Tomorrow, thank you for the $5. Polytune, thank you for the $15. Meow, I'm hoping this makes my name orange, pink, or some nice color. Polytune, I'm very sorry to say, but donating money doesn't actually do that. You need a subscription, which is a different kind of giving me money. You know what? Hold on. I find this delightful. Okay, hold on just one moment. I'll amend that. Okay, I'll fix that. Let me redirect. Let me redirect that. What did you say? What color did you want your name to be? Orange or pink or some nice color. Okay, okay. Very good, very good. Users. Excellent, excellent. Okay. Add subscription. Did the thing that I just do work? Add subscription? I might not know how to use this functionality. I don't think I know how to use this functionality, I'm very sorry to say. At the very least, I hit add subscription and it still says not subscribed. I might have to defer this one to the mods then. I'll keep the window open. We'll see what we can do. Hopefully my intention is, you know, I celebrate the intention at least. Twins, thank you for the $5. I think trying to convince cops to quit on moral grounds is a bad idea since good ones might quit, but bad ones never will. To a large extent, yeah. I think except in very extreme circumstances, you're not going to get any good long-term outcomes by trying to encourage cops to quit. Like, I can't think of a single time that's ever led to any improvement in police action. You need to target more from, like, the top down. You know? Lord Wormeye, thank you for the tier 3 sub. Really appreciate that. Cup of Liquid Drainer, thank you for the $5. Really appreciate that. SJ Pilgrim, thank you for the $20. Could you give a quick mention to my Patreon and my book? Also on AO3. SJ Pilgrim, I don't do shout-outs here because it just turns the donation feed into, you know what I mean, like a to-do list to get through. That being said, unfortunately, just mentioning Patreons and works, like through a donation without any kind of endorsement or a description of them probably doesn't land for most people, you know? I saw you also emailed me the same point, and I appreciate the sentiment very much, but you're not going to get much of a drive that way. You have to build an audience organically, especially for something like writing. You know, it's easy to take a, you know, you get an image at face value, right? You pop it open, you look at it. But when it comes to writing, you know, you really have to work to that. To be honest, I don't really know what you have to do to build an audience writing. Fan fiction, I imagine? Something fan fiction oriented? I'm not entirely sure. But I can't really endorse something that I haven't read, you know? But I'll link in chat. I'll link in chat, you know. It's not something I'm going to do broadly, you know, but I'll do it. I've got a moment. I've got a free moment. Okay. Smart Sport 101 and Oceans Over Alyssa, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. Really appreciate that. Hello to you too, Oceans Over Alyssa. I'm concerned the admins saying they will make Portland safe will embolden MAGA to visit and move to Portland. I don't think so. Don't worry. I wouldn't. No. The Portland can never be safe. If Portland was ever actually made safe, made unwoke or whatever, it would no longer be a point against which the administration could draw attention. There will never be a point, at least not without substantial long-term cultural changes, that the administration endorses Chud's move to Portland, you know? A used Honda Civic and Cash Money. Thank you for the $5 both. Interesting, Cash Money. And do Dems need to end the make white dudes feel bad political project they've been doing for the last 15 years? Yeah, they probably do. It is actually a real problem. A significant number of Democrat staffers, like staff, consultants, people they work with broadly, writers, are gay or women. And that's not bad on its own, but given that and the culture of like yes queen, wine mom, liberal Democrat centrism that is already prevalent within these spaces, it leads to very bad analysis. You know, you're basically getting like politics distilled from BuzzFeed articles circa 2015, and that's not good. Yeah, never, ever, ever forget the fact that Hillary Clinton literally ran with her turn. Like, that was actually something people leaned into. That's crazy. That was unforgivable. Breadsoul, thanks the tier 1 sub. I always tip my barber very well, don't you worry. Dick Thulu, thank you for the tier 3 sub. No, I learned that. I learned that plenary is a legal term, meaning absolute authority without limitations. But wasn't it fun for a bit when we were making fun of Miller for misspeaking? I still think he faked the disconnect, though. Thank you, Thana. I appreciate that. Carl Hungus, the $5. We back the cops, of course. Kowalski, thank you for the $5. Thank you for the rural tithe. Rhaegar99, thanks the $5. Vosh is Trump's lawyer. Would you recommend he threaten to arrest Bad Bunny constantly? Oh my God, yes. Once Bad Bunny is close enough to like the lock-in point with the Super Bowl halftime show that he can get away with being a little bit more aggressive on social media, if he could bait Republicans into saying some really egregious shit about him, that would be very, 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 very funny. Sake, thank you for the 10 tier 1 subs. Man carrying thing has been killing it. Watch later, only 1.5 minutes. For 10 tier 1 subs, will I watch later? Let's see. If plumbers talked like economists. Yeah, sure, I'll add it to my watch later. That's the Vosh promise. How often do I get to my watch later? Actually, pretty often. I use that feature of YouTube pretty often. The Vromus. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me take a look at the super chats. Watch later is goated. Yeah, I would say so. Third Eye Blind, Jiggle Jess again, and Jiggle Jess for a third time, and Waftcast. Thank you for the $2 and pounds all. I really appreciate that. Eloram Bazdo and Panacea Pan, thank you for the $5 both. Has ICE shown up at citizenship tests themselves? Yes, haven't they? Haven't we seen videos of ICE officers showing up at hearings and tests for citizenship? Like, they're just showing up randomly for citizenship tests as well. Still alive, thank you for the $10. Rick Wilson, one of the main Lincoln Project guys, says he's gotten a win that Stephen Miller and Russ Vogt are the main dudes running things behind the admin. Does that sound accurate to you? Yes. Yeah, I would say so. Russ Vogt, Project 2025 architect, is basically the policy director for the administration, and Miller seems to be handling the groundwork direction for the fascist takeover, to whatever extent that's actually working. And Lauren Basdo, thank you for the $5 both. Streamer boasts about how much better he would be at this. Many such cases. Richard Hannay, Paloma Del Mar, Ludovic X, and Nathan E. Thank you for the $2 and pounds all. I really appreciate those. Thank you. Alexander Stanford, thank you for the 50 Egyptian pounds. Really appreciate that. So how bad do you think the Supreme Court season would be? Funny you say that. You're posting this. This super chat is from before the most recent ruling data, or the indication of the future ruling. So probably pretty bad. Pasta Boof, Paloma Del Mar again, and Han, thank you for the 5 all. ICE presence creates more problem for the local police. Good. The more the police dislike ICE, the better positioned we are in the future. Secular Pagan Mum, thank you for the 666. All this shit reminds me of my favorite book from the 90s, Ariel, Book of the Change. If you like mouthy unicorn and top necromancy thugs riding named Shitan. Well, I could be the unicorn, and that would be cool. Necromancy is so cool, man. Sorry, not in real life. I've never partaken. Like as a concept in media, and I feel like it's kind of a shame that necromancers are so, we have like an archetype in our head of what a necromancer looks like, and we stick to it, and I feel like it kind of limits, like there's so much shit you could play with there, you know? You're going to the pyre, little bro. Fuck! I'm sorry, I repent. Wealthy Whisperer TV, thank you for the buck. Third Eye Blind, thank you for the £5. If a Vosh falls over in the woods, does it make a sound? I'm still over 200 pounds, so probably, yeah. We need to lighten up a little bit, then I'll be soft as a whisper. T.I., thank you for the very kind 20 kroner. Kroner. Zed Spaceman, Seiya Dyer Productions, thank you for the $2 all. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Third Eye Blind, thank you for the 5 and 2 pounds. Beset in all side by felonies. Don't talk about that in this chat. The feds are always watching. Wandering Robot Studio, thank you for the $10. Big Bad Bunny. They are afraid. Pale Magpie, thank you for the 2 5-pound donations. To be fair, V, have you ever met a Star Wars fan who wasn't at least a little mentally ill? Well, now that being a Star Wars fan and being a Disney adult, like these are two Venn diagrams that overlap, I will say my impression of them has gotten a little worse. I will admit. Wandering Robot Studio, thank you for the $2. What is your opinion of Aragorn as a masculine ideal? I mean, he was probably homophobic, right? Product of his time. I look, Aragorn's a really, really cool character. I mean, he is in the books as well, at least from what I've read, and in multiple adaptations. I do think that there need to be more straight male main characters that are good people in relatively uncomplicated ways that serve as morality lessons. I feel like often we hold out for this one. I feel like there are obviously lots of white male, straight, etc. characters, main characters in media, but I think that often they're anti-heroes or they're complex moral characters that aren't really meant to be like, you know, envied or enviable or whatever. I guess the thought that I would have is like Walter White from Breaking Bad. Phenomenal character, like generational. They'll be talking about that show and that character 100 years from now, you know? But you don't want to be him. Some people say you want to be him and they're wrong. I think that like one of the problems that we have right now is we don't really have a kind of a, how do I put this? I'm rambling a little bit right now. I'm repeating myself. We don't have a good cultural model for people who belong in hegemonic groups, right? So like upper middle class, white, cisgender, straight, male, whatever. We don't have a good model for those people morally outside of them defying or bucking the social standards that put them on top in the first place. In reality, though, in like one's real day-to-day life, being a good person while being a white guy doesn't really involve like bucking whiteness or toxic masculinity. Usually those on some subtle level might be a part of what you've done to be a good person, but it usually doesn't feel like an active rejection because that's a very intensely political way of thinking about your own life. I don't think that good men, like men who are good, I mean, obviously, I don't think they think of themselves as having actively rejected toxic masculinity. I think to them, they're just like, well, I don't know, I just like being kind to people. So when in media, a character is framed as good in the context of that rejection, it makes me wonder if that comes across as a bit off-putting to some people, not even because they disagree with the politics of it, you know, but rather because they think like, well, okay, good for him, but that's not like relevant to me. Yes, I'm thinking of Superman to an extent here for sure, but I'm just talking generally. I don't know. I like Aragorn, right? I guess another way of putting it would be, do you think Aragorn would have been a better character if, because of course he's lost royalty, if like he started as a bad person because he was like, I don't know, the waylaid brat son of Minas Tirith or whatever, you know, like a prince, but but then over the course of the story, he became a better person. Do you think that would have made him a better moral fable or a better character? Or do you think it would have been better as it is now? I don't know. I'm just kind of riffing a little bit. So Zuko? Zuko was a phenomenal character. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of the archetypes that I'm talking about. But even though at the end of the show, Zuko is a good person, right? Do good people think of Zuko as relatable in that process of becoming good? Or do they think of him as relatable only in that he is good in the third season? So I guess from my perspective, to me, Zuko is a moral outsider up until he joins with the gang in the third season, right? In seasons 1 and 2, I really enjoy his character, you know, obviously. But he's a moral outsider. I do not think of him as myself. I don't really project myself onto him, but only in the third season when he starts to be more social and he's awkward and stuff, do I relate to the behaviors he demonstrates there. And that doesn't take away from the overall arc, you know? It's more like I'm rooting for him to be more like me, right? Like my thinking is like, Zuko, you have an opportunity to befriend these people. We, the audience, know these are good people. You should befriend them. Come on, make the effort. And then we feel either disappointment or satisfaction when he does or doesn't. I related to him for the entirety of the show, Lamau. That's fine. That's completely fine. Again, I'm literally not. I'm not saying that's bad at all. Anyway, I'm sorry. I really have to move here. Brian Z with the $10. Have you covered Tallarico? I've watched the H-Bomb vid. I assume you mean James Tallarico. I've talked about him a bit, but I don't really know. People always ask me to cover him. I don't know what you mean by cover him. Like, he's there, he exists. I've talked about him a bit. Cover what specifically? Has something happened? Trains are just better. Thank you for the Brazilian real. Don't give no at all. Thank you for the $5. Please remind people about the No Kings protest on the 18th. Yeah, everyone get your best... your favorite, like, woke, snarky, liberal sign ready for the protest. I mean it. Husky Bus, thank you for the very kind $10. I live in Renton, and my commission of my Sona in diapers is done. Excellent. Thank you for the $10. Taijirai, thank you for the $10. Hey, Vosh, I really like your promos about PV and the candidates you're boosting. Could you and the editors maybe make a short that I could share with my friends? It's like a leftist gateway drug. Yeah, a short wouldn't be a bad idea. Of course, right now, today, is the election of the candidate that I was talking about in the most recent coverage. So we'll see how that plays out, huh? Crow, thank you for the very kind €6. See that JBP has been in ICU for a month. Is bro dying? Seems so. Zach Doxy, thank you for the $5. Hey, Vosh, I'm 18 years old from the Boston area. Just want to say your content really inspired me to get involved in politics and speak up for what I believe. Really happy to hear that. Genuinely, that's lovely. You know, keep it up. It's a long journey, you know. Certainly I've changed a lot since I first started doing this. Thank you. Old Schoolist, thank you for the $5. Fosh, do you think Miller ever rage cries himself to sleep over how incompetent and inefficient Trump is at enacting their fascist ideals? I bet you he is very frustrated. He has to know he's running out of time to, like, really bring the hammer down, you know? And Hal Peasy, thank you for the $5. Thanks for the engaging stream as always. Thoughts and opinions on drag brunch. I'm not a huge drag person myself. Like, for the most part, I find the routines uninteresting. But I have attended some drag brunches that I enjoyed a lot. So it's just like a personal preference thing. But yeah, if there are drag events in your city, you can probably be sure that if you go there, you'll have the opportunity to meet cool people, if nothing else, you know? We love our cool people, don't we, folks? Maxter, thank you for the $5. I was watching your climate debate. That's quite old. and saw how you brought up data and even linked studies. Do you keep up now with educating yourself by reading studies? Yeah, I read studies pretty often, but only on subjects that I feel there's any question to. I don't feel the need to read studies on the efficacy of transition for trans people anymore. I've read enough, you know? There's not much of a difference, in my mind at least, between reading 10 and reading 20 and reading 30. Once you know where the consensus is, especially with meta-analyses, right? You pretty much have the answer. It's not like the right is susceptible to, you know, data anyway. But yeah, you should always try to further your knowledge. Even for subjects that you're already familiar with the answer to, you might get better arguments. Maxter, thank you for the $5. I was having a debate with my friend, and they were talking about being socially liberal but conservative financially and didn't agree about Trump. Jan 6, he voted. I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Didn't agree about Trump, Jan 6, he voted. Yep, I have no idea what you mean. If you said something based, then I agree with it. And if you said something cringe, I disagree with it. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Carl Hungus, thank you for the $5. Did you see Newsom complimented Hassan? Do you think it's indicative of anything? No, I have no idea what you're referring to. And Bieber Hole 69, thank you for the incredibly kind $20. Really appreciate that. Thank you. All right, folks. I think we did it. I think that I said that I would read donos, and we did read donos, and now the donos have been read, and I appreciate them all very much, and it's time for me to go. You will all see me tomorrow. Everyone, everyone take care. Have a wonderful day, drink water, etc. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.